Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Glad to see everybody back. This is the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners meeting. Today is April 6, 2026. It is 9 a.m. If everyone could please stand for the pledge to the flag. Now we'd like to take a moment of silence. This is for individual prayer, reflection, meditation. We take this time to honor and remember our first responders and the men and women who in our military who keep us safe and protect our freedoms at home and abroad. All right, now we're moving on. Just some information. There was been a modification to item 7, I believe it's 7L. This was revised and moved to item A. That's been updated on April 1st. The other thing is we just wanted to talk about a couple announcements. April 7th is Commissioner Andy Dance's Town Hall. That will be held 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Rimfire Elementary School. April 11th, we have the Housing Fair. Does anybody know where the Housing Fair is located at? It's going to be at the Community Center in Palm Coast. Upcoming commission meetings, workshops, and special meetings. There will be a workshop today at 1 p.m. That is to go over the Interim County Administrator's contract, County Administrator search process, and an extension request for Phoenix Crossing. We also have a workshop Monday, April 20th at 1 p.m., and our regular meeting will be that day, April 20th at 5 p.m. We're going to go ahead and go into our recognitions. Our first recognition was firefighter retirement for Frank Mesta. If the chief would like to come down. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chair Pennington. How are you today?
We're good, thank you.
It's good to be here, and it's good to speak to all of you. Obviously, if Frank Mesta was supposed to be here today to be recognized with his retirement, and he is in the process of moving his wife and himself to Tennessee, and they had some issues, and they were not able to make it back for the presentation today, which he was disappointed in not being able to. Frank has been a dedicated member of Flagler County for a long time. He served the citizens for about 37 years. And he was the last member of Flagler County Ambulance Service before it was merged into Flagler County Fire Rescue to become, a one organization. So, again, Frank has served the citizens well. He's been a flight medic for a long time, which is it's a pretty monumental task to earn that designation. So, so we just want to say, obviously, thank you to Frank and his family. I'm sure they're watching, today. And so we just thank you for the opportunity to recognize him for his years of dedication.
Yes, thank you. I'll go ahead and let the commissioners comment first.
So if he's watching, thank you, Frank. Thank you for your years of service. Appreciate it.
That would be an amazing achievement, and service is what you guys do best. So thank you for all your years of service, Frank, and enjoy your retirement for sure.
Yeah, Frank, all the best. You're a great citizen, and we were glad to have you. Thank you.
I'm going to be frank. Frank, you're great. Thank you for your 35 plus years and just amazing career, and wishing you health, happiness, and a great future in your retirement.
Yep. It is weird to talk to Frank, but to Frank, you've been a blessing to this community. I've heard numerous people over the years, even before I became a county commissioner, talk well of you. And so we appreciate everything you've done in this community, and enjoy Tennessee. We'll miss you.
Right. He has definitely earned it. And the good thing about Flagler County Fire Rescue is that Frank is not an anomaly. that is the level of service and dedication is a norm, to our staff. And it's just great that Frank gets the recognition for doing 37 years and serving his fellow citizens.
Well, thank you so much, sir. Should we take a picture for Frank? If you want to come up and hold up his thing, we'll send him a picture. You're good with that.
I don't have his thing.
You don't have his thing? Huh? We'll do it later. We'll find his certificate. All right.
I'm sure our comms team can Photoshop me into that.
That's right. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, Chief. Okay. Next, we're going to have a presentation from AHA Mission Lifeline Recognition. I believe that's you, Chief, again.
It is. It's my
My
turn in the
gosh.
barrel today. So,
think I-
obviously, it's always a pleasure to come before the board, and get to brag about the things that Flagler County Fire Rescue, does. And the American Heart Association recognizes agencies, across the country that achieve high levels of success in cardiac arrest and stroke treatment of patients and transportation, as well. And the AHA Mission Lifeline Gold level this is the third year that Flagler County Fire Rescue has achieved this designation, and we had previously received the silver level in the first year. And the only reason we didn't get the gold level in the first year is because silver is what you get, the first time around. So otherwise, we believe we would have had it 4 years, in a row. But this is a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, on the staff. In particular, Captain John Moskowitz is the one who leads our American Heart Association efforts. And he does an amazing job of making sure that our numbers are correct and the information is right and the patients are tracked. 'Cause it's a lot more than just simply transporting patients to the hospital. This is about following through the entire system, because the survival of a cardiac arrest victim and the recovery of a stroke victim relies upon a system of care, not just one single component. Obviously, Flagler County Fire Rescue is a piece in that puzzle, but it's bigger, than that. But early recognition and early intervention and early access to comprehensive and definitive care is critical to the success of a patient's outcome. So, again, when it comes to things like stroke treatment, when I got in this business 41 years ago, when there was a stroke, you were basically told, your life is over for you. You're just going to have to learn to live with the new normal. And with stroke treatment now, if we can recognize those signs and symptoms with 180 minutes, and we can get them into a comprehensive stroke center, the chances of them coming out and living a quality life after that are very high. So the paramedics are doing things now, I got to be honest, I never thought about doing when I was just getting started in this business. It's amazing, to watch them work. But just to give you a little rundown, the Mission Lifeline is a program that recognizes the pre-hospital emergency agencies for the quality of care for heart attack and stroke patients. The recognition program focuses on transforming care quality by connecting all heart attack and stroke components into a seamlessly integrated care system. And the key tenets of these systems are reinforce evidence-based guidelines and measure performance, identify gaps, and engage quality, improvement. So it's not just about transporting; it's about making sure that we're better the next time, around, and taking a hard look at our performance. And we also received, as part of this, what the AHA calls the Target Heart Attack Honor Roll, and that is a new one, for us. And it is focused on a system of care for patients. And again, I mentioned that system. This award highlights the collaboration and contributions of both pre-hospital and the hospital providers. To qualify for this recognition, agencies must meet specific criteria that reduce the time between an eligible patient's interaction with EMS until they're in the hospital and receiving, definitive care. And that's why I mentioned for stroke patients is that 180 minutes. If we can get people into the hospital within 180 minutes, if we can get people that are having a heart attack into an intervention center and what they call the door to balloon time, the D to B time, they can do that within 90 minutes. Their chance of survival is exponentially elevated. So our team does an amazing job. I'm very proud of them, and what they do day in and day out, but it also comes back to the fact that we are supported by you. We appreciate the resources that you give us, the trust that you input, that you give us to serve the citizens of this county, and it's our commitment to do the best that we possibly can. But again, it's a system, and the commission and the taxpayers are part of that system, as well. So with that, Chair, I'm done.
Thank you, Chief. We appreciate everything from your group. We really do.
Absolutely. Have a
Thank
great
you,
day.
sir. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, we're moving to our proclamations. First proclamation is Water Conservation Month for April 2026. This was requested by Bill White with the St. John's Water Management District and Eric Rivalto, who runs our Environmentally Sensitive Lands Program. I have that proclamation, so. This is a proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners designating April 2026 as Water Conservation Month in Flagler County. Whereas water is a basic and essential need of every living creature, and water conservation is becoming more critical across our great state. And whereas the state of Florida, the St. Johns River Water Management District, and Flagler County are working together to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation, and whereas the state of Florida, the St. Johns River Water Management District, and Flagler County have designated April, historically a dry month when water standards are most acute, as Water Conservation Month to educate residents about how they can help save Florida's precious water resources. And whereas Flagler County has always encouraged and supported water conservation through various educational programs and special events, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can make a difference when it comes to conserving water. And whereas every business, industry, school, and resident can help by saving water and thus promote a healthy economy and community, and whereas efficient irrigation design, programming, and maintenance can conserve water, Flagler County will encourage citizens and businesses to evaluate their irrigation systems for potential efficiency enhancements. Now, therefore, the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners do hereby proclaim the month of April 26 as Water Conservation Month in Flagler County. We call upon each citizen and business to help protect our precious resource by practicing water-saving measures and becoming more aware of the need to save water. For this, the 28th year of Water Conservation Month, the focus will be on ensuring that outdoor irrigation systems operate efficiently by using properly functioning rain shutoff devices. By making sure these devices are installed, connected, and working as intended, our community can prevent unnecessary watering, reduce waste, and make better use of the rainfall we receive. Adopted this 6th day of April 2026 and attested by our chair and our clerk of court. Let me make a motion, Bill. I'd like to make a motion to approve the proclamation designating April as Water Conservation Month in Flagler County.
Second.
I have first and a second.
So you want to move? So moved. Second?
Second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor signify with aye.
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 Okay, we've got that out of the way. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Good morning, Madam
Good
Chair.
morning.
Vice Chair, Commissioners, thank you so much for helping us spread the word. Normally, I've done this a bunch. April's our time for our driest month, so we want to get out there and water conserve. However, this year is totally different. It's not April we're struggling with water. It's January, it's February, it's March, and it might even be into May. And the hard part of this is it doesn't matter. Like this week, we're supposed to get a lot of rain. But the aquifer, as you know, goes from South Georgia all the way down to South Florida. So even though we get a little bit of rain here, overall, the aquifer from our monitoring wells is way low. So low that our board for the Water Management District came out with a Phase 2 water shortage advisory. Sounds kind of scary, but they recognized that the aquifer, due to two things. One, and I'm thinking Jonathan's going to be upset with me, but we haven't had any big rain events, which is good. But on the downside of that, that's what fills up the aquifer. The other one is the massive amount of growth that we've seen in Florida. So we got more people taken from the aquifer and us not putting it in, even though we're trying many different dynamic ways of trying to refill the aquifer. So what we need now is 50% of our fresh water goes into irrigation. It's low-hanging fruit. So what the advisory means is one time a week. It's St. Augustine grass. It doesn't need a lot of water. So, and that goes out to all the governments, businesses, and then also the citizens, getting the word out there, which you guys do a great job of spreading the word to conserve the water. But one day a week, and if you see your neighbors out there watering every day, maybe they don't have social media. Maybe they don't get the word. Talk to them. It's neighbors helping neighbors is how we get through this. And hopefully into June when we start getting a lot more rain and Florida starts filling it back up. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Would you like to come up and take a picture with us? Thanks.
Ready, you ready? 1, 2, 3, good.
That's right. They'll be like, you're from the district. They'll start recognizing you.
Our next proclamation will be read by Commissioner Dance. It's World Landscape Architecture Month.
Thank you. Appreciate this opportunity. As you know, I'm a licensed landscape architect, so this is the one opportunity that we get to toot our own horn. I have my good friend Kevin White here, who is with our state organization, the American Society of Landscape Architects. He's our member at large for advocacy and licensure, and also our government affairs chair. And we've been working together for a long time, so thank you for being here. Okay, so we have a proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners proclaiming April 2026 as Landscape Architects Month in Flagler County. Whereas landscape architecture encompasses the analysis, planning, design, and stewardship of the natural and built environment, translating vision into action to shape places that are healthy, safe, and resilient. And whereas Wednesday, April 1st, 2026 is recognized as Professional Landscape Architecture Day, celebrating the licensed professionals whose expertise in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is essential to the infrastructure and quality of life in Flagler County and across the nation. And whereas during Landscape Architecture Month, celebrated under the theme Landscape Architecture in Action, we recognize the profession's tangible impact on parks, streetscapes, campuses, and public spaces across urban, suburban, and rural communities. And whereas as the United States approaches America 250, we recognize that landscape architects have historically shaped and continue to steward the American landscape, creating enduring spaces that embody democratic values and cultural heritage and advance opportunities for future generations. And whereas the licensed practice of landscape architecture is a critical safeguard for public health, safety, and welfare, ensuring that outdoor environments from therapeutic gardens and playgrounds to complex stormwater and transportation systems are designed with technical rigor and ethical responsibility. And whereas landscape architects are uniquely qualified to address a changing climate through resilient and sustainable green infrastructure design strategies that restore ecosystems, mitigate environmental hazards, and reduce the long-term financial burden of disaster recovery on state and local governments. And whereas the economy of Flagler County is strengthened by the work of licensed landscape architects and the accredited programs at Florida International University and the University of Florida, go Gators, who together foster tourism, economic development, and environmental protection. And whereas landscape architecture is a regulated profession in all 50 states, and the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation ensures the highest standards of professional competence through rigorous education, experience, and examination requirements. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners that they hereby proclaim April 2026 as Landscape Architecture Month and Wednesday, April 1st, 2026 as Professional Landscape Architecture Day in Flagler County, calling upon all citizens to celebrate landscape architecture in action and the essential role landscape architects play in shaping a resilient, safe, and enduring American landscape as we move toward America 250. Adopted this 6th day of April 2026, attested by our Clerk of Circuit Court, Tom Bexley, and our Chair of the County Commission, Ms. Leanne Pennington. Thank you, Kevin, for being here.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you, Commissioner, all the Commissioner Board of Commissioners for your support of our profession. It'd be hard to believe how much I have to talk to our elected officials in Tallahassee about landscape architecture and the importance of our licensure. It's very important, health, safety, and welfare. And I continue to do that, and I appreciate Andy's support. He's mentored me. I've known him for over 25 years. So highest regard of integrity and steward of the land and advocacy for all of our profession as well as the community. I appreciate that. And thank you very much, sir.
Again, thank you for being here. Come on up, we'll get a picture and
We need a motion.
I'll take a motion to approve the proclamation for Landscape Architecture Month.
I'll
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with aye.
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 right, everybody ready? 2, 3, good.
Okay, our next proclamation is Fair Housing Month, April of 2026. This was requested by Joe Hagedis of Health and Human Services, and I believe Ms. Carney has this one.
Hello, am I on? Yep. This new mic. Come on up, ladies. Hi, Joe. Okay, so I will read the proclamation and then make a motion. The proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners proclaiming April 2026 as Fair Housing Month in Flagler County. Whereas April 11th, 2026 marks the 58th anniversary of the passage of the Fair Housing Act, and whereas the United States government recognizes the month of April as Fair Housing Month to commemorate the Fair Housing Act of 1968, and whereas the Flagler County is committed to the principles of the Fair Housing Act, ensuring fair, accessible access to housing and fostering opportunity and belonging that strengthen our economy and preserve the unique character of our community. And whereas Flagler County, in cooperation with the City of Palm Coast, Mid-Florida Housing Partnership, and local housing resource agencies, will participate in a housing fair on April 11th, 2026 at the Palm Coast Community Center, featuring the theme, Faith, Freedom, and Fair Housing. And whereas the event will connect residents with service providers, lenders, and builders, and offer educational sessions on topics such as personal finance, home maintenance, and estate planning, and will also feature a public focus group to gather input on successes and challenges related to housing options in Flagler County. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners that April 2026 is hereby designated as Fair Housing Month in Flagler County, Florida, affirming the county's commitment to fair housing and equal opportunity. The board encourages public and private entities to encourage in activities that promote and uphold fair housing practices for all residents and prospective residents of Flagler County, adopted this 6th day of April, signed by Tom Bexley, Clerk of Circuit Court and Comptroller, and Leanne Pennington, Chair, Flagler County Board of County Commissioners. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we proclaim April as Fair Housing Month in Flagler County.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, sir, how are you?
Good morning. Thank you, Chair and Vice Chair. My name is Joe Hagedis. I'm the Director of Health and Human Services with Flagler County. And with me today, we've got Devry Paradowski, who's our Housing Services Manager, and Ms. Clymer and Ms. Emerald, who are our Vice Chair and Chair, or sorry, switch that, Chair and Vice Chair for our Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. This is the team that does a lot of the work to review and address housing policies and needs in the community. So I just wanted to introduce them and take a moment to thank you for your continued support and our shared commitment ensuring equal access to housing and fostering community where every resident has the opportunity to live safely and securely and free from discrimination. Devry has a few more words to share just about Fair Housing Month and as well as the rest of the team here. So I'll defer to them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Devry Paradowski, Housing Services Program Manager. I just wanted to emphasize that the housing fair on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Palm Coast Community Center, it's going to be a very valuable event for current, excuse me, for current homeowners as well as future homeowners. There's going to be workshops throughout the event. Some of those workshops will be homeowners insurance, unlicensed contracting, repair assistance. We'll have those types of things available for current homeowners. So we're asking them to come and check out the event on Saturday. And then from 12 p.m. will be the future of housing. This is a community conversation, and we're very excited about that because citizens will have the opportunity to communicate with Commissioner Carney and Councilmember Gambaro Jr. about what they see in the community that's impacting them for housing. There will be a survey throughout the event that all participants can participate in, and all of the input will help inform the 2027 Housing Policy Forum that's being planned right now. So we encourage all residents to stop by anytime from 10 to 2, and then engage with the Future of Housing conversation at 12 p.m. during that event. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Did you have anything? Right, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
If I may just briefly add, take the liberty. This is Devery's last week with our Health and Human Services team, so I want to just take a moment and honor her. On behalf of the Health and Human Services team, I just want to extend our sincere appreciation for her work and her commitment to expanding and preserving affordable housing, along with her leadership of the housing team and her collaborative spirit. She's left a meaningful impact on our department and the community. So we're grateful for her work, her expertise, and her dedication, and we wish her the very best in all her future. Thanks,
Yes.
Devery.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you, Devery. All right, would you guys
Get a
want to
photo?
take a
Yes,
Come on.
photo, thank you. Go up.
It's okay. Just make pretend you like me.
Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, we're good. Thank you.
There you go. If you need me for anything, call me. Leader, great leader.
She's really
Oh,
very
goodness.
organized and very, very on-site, on cue.
Devery, we wish you much success at your next endeavor. Really, you've been very valuable. The community loves you. We appreciate everything. We're moving on to the next proclamation. It's Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and I believe Commissioner Richardson has this one.
I'm going to apologize ahead of time because I'm sinusy. So if I'm coughing, it's not about you, it's about me. What can I say? This is a proclamation from Flagler County Board of County Commissioners proclaiming April 2026 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Flagler County, Florida. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month calls attention to the fact that sexual assault violence is widespread and impacts every person in the community. And whereas rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment impact our community, and statistics show that 1 in 5 women and 1 in 33 men will be raped at some point in their lives. That 1 in 4 boys and 1 in 3 girls will experience a sexual assault before age 18. Youth ages 11 to 17 are 2.5 times more likely to be victims of rape and sexual assault on a campus. 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted. And whereas during 2025 Family Life Center, as the Certified Rape Crisis Center in Flagler County, provided 51 sexual assault-related community education events, 658 supportive services, and provided 292 hours of trauma counseling for survivors of sexual assault and their families living in Flagler County. And whereas the Start by Believing public awareness campaign, a program of End the Violence Against Women International, is designed to improve the responses of friends, family members, and community professionals so they can help sexual assault victims access support resources, and engage the criminal justice system. And whereas Flagler County joins advocates and communities across the country because we are the strongest when we raise our voices together to change the culture to prevent sexual violence. Prevention requires addressing the root causes and social norms that allow sexual violence to exist. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and each day of the year is an opportunity to create change for the future. And whereas Flagler County Advocates Alliance, comprised of victim advocates from Bunnell Police Department, Family Life Center, Flagler Beach Police Department, Flagler County Sheriff's Office, and the Office of the State Attorney, 7th Judicial Circuit, Flagler, is hereby dedicated strengthening victims and survivors in the aftermath of crime, building resilience in our communities and our victims' responders, and working for a better future for all victims and survivors. Now, therefore, it's proclaimed by Flagler County Board of County Commissioners that they're hereby proclaim April 2026 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Flagler County, and do hereby encourage all citizens to support the Start by Believing public awareness campaign, adopted the 6th day of April 2026, attested by Tom Bexley, Clerk of Courts and Comptroller, and Flagler County Board of County Commission Chair Leanne Penning. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, Ms. Shan. How are you?
I'm good. I can't believe we're at another April. You realize how fast it goes when we see you guys again. But my name is Erin Shannon. I'm the Sexual Assault Services Coordinator at Family Life Center, overseeing both Volusia, Flagler County. I want to thank you guys so much for another year of proclamations for us. Sexual assault is a pervasive and devastating crime. It violates trust, shatters lives, and leaves deep, lasting scars with the impacts affecting generations to come. It's not about sex, it's about power and control, and it happens far more often than we realize. We often hear those statistics, the 1 in 3 women or the 1 in 6 men experience the completed or attempted rape in their lifetime, but these numbers are more than just figures. They represent real people with real pain and real stories. Sexual assault awareness is not just about understanding the problem. It's about changing the culture that allows it to persist. It is about believing survivors, challenging those harmful myths, and creating safer spaces. It's about education, consent, and bystander intervention. We must teach our children about healthy relationships and respect. We must challenge the toxic masculinity that fuels violence. We must uphold the perpetrators accountable, and we must support survivors on their journey to healing. And awareness is only the first step. Let's move beyond awareness to action. Let's build a world where everyone feels safe, respected, and empowered. And let's break the silence, and together we can make the world a safer place and end sexual violence. Thank you so much.
I was remiss, I didn't move to approve this.
Oh, we'll go ahead and
Well, so I want to do that right now.
Okay.
Can I get a second?
make your motion.
I make a motion to approve this
I'll second.
proclamation.
All right, we have
Thank you.
motion and a second. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're done with that part. Good to see you guys again. I appreciate everything you do. You're one of the only ones doing it in our county, and for that, we're so grateful. Everything's always positive in our community when it comes to your group, so we appreciate that as well.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Would you like to come up and take a
Yes.
picture?
Nice to see you. Good job.
Everybody ready? Thank you.
Come on. Great day.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Our next proclamation is National Public Health Week. I believe Ms. Carney has this one as well.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners designating the week of April 6th through the 12th, 2026 as Florida Public Health Week in Flagler County. Whereas the week of April 6th through April 12th, 2026 is Florida Public Health Week, an opportunity to promote and raise awareness of important public health topics and engage with local communities. And whereas the Florida Department of Health in Flagler County uses Florida Public Health Week to highlight programs, initiatives, and resources specific to Flagler County. And whereas data-driven insights are used to establish statewide health priorities, such as injury and violence prevention, chronic disease prevention, Alzheimer's disease awareness, mental well-being, and substance use prevention, and maternal and child health. And whereas residents are reminded to prepare for hurricane season by having a medical plan set ahead of time, as well as understanding what a special needs shelter is and how to pre-register. And whereas protecting our communities through disease prevention, outbreak detection and response, and actively working out in the field. And whereas recognizing and celebrating the expertise, commitment to serving others, and resilience of the public health professionals who work to protect and improve the lives of Floridians. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners that they hereby proclaim the week of April 6th through the 12th, 2026 as Florida Public Health Week in Flagler County, and encourage residents, healthcare providers, community organizations, and local businesses to participate in activities to promote public health and wellness. Adopted this 6th day of April 2026, attested Tom Bexley, Clerk of Circuit Court and Comptroller, and Leanne Pennington, Chair, Flagler County Board of County Commissioners. Chair, I'd like to motion to designate the week of April 6th through the 12th as Florida Public Health Week.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All right, good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Vice Chair, Commissioners. It's great to see you. I hope you all had a great holiday. Thank you for the my name's Steve Sotelli. I'm the Health Officer for the Florida Department of Health in Flagler County. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to raise awareness offered by the department as we observe National Public Health Week. This past year, the Flagler Department of Health reflects both the dedication of our staff and strong partnerships in the community. Our dental program offered 11,000 services, ensuring essential care for children and families. The medical clinic provided more than 20,000 services, supporting preventative care and treatments for residents across the county. Our WIC program offered 37,000 services and is rated the highest performing in the state of Florida, as related to percentage of participation, in addition to focusing on nutrition and early development and family well-being. Our Environmental Health Division completed 1,300 permits, 1,500 inspections, and additional services that safeguard environment where our community lives and works. Equally vital is our emergency preparedness team, whose planning, training, and rapid response capabilities ensure Flagler County is ready to respond to public health threats, storms, and other unexpected challenges. These accomplishments are possible due to the unwavering dedication of the staff, professionalism, compassion, and commitment and service that is driving them day in and day out. We extend our appreciation to the staff, in addition to our community partners, many of which are here today, community partners such as SMA and county staff. So thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Those were great statistics for our area. I'm going to let you guys comment first, and then I was going to tell them.
I just wanted to say thank you. You've been a great addition here to Flagler County and helping us with the health department. So it's been a pleasure working with you. Thank you.
Again, thank you very much for all you do. You've got a great department over there.
You know, it's hard, you know, as budget process comes through, and it's one little piece of the budget where we give you that chunk, and it's not enough, but what you do with it is remarkable. So thank you. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
I have found you and your cohort back there probably the most positive people, and I'm blessed to have the opportunity to spend time with you on committees because you guys really are dedicated to our community. So I got to thank you for that. It's really important that we have good players in the leadership, and boy, we are very lucky to have you both. You're not allowed to leave, by the way, so just so you know.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for those comments. And we often say around the department, we're small but mighty. And every day we look at how to do things better to serve the community, and I think we're constantly moving forward. And so we appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll come up and we'll take a
Yes.
picture. That'd be great.
I'll go middle again. It's my vice chair. I didn't have to wait. Thank you.
Ready, ready?
Oh, dual action. Wow.
Thank you so much.
Nice.
Appreciate it.
See you.
Good to see you. It's good to see you. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, here's the thing.
I'll take off the wall while I'm doing that.
It's going to be coming out of your check there. All right, hang in there with us. We've got another proclamation for Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. This one was requested by Ms. Mortimer. I believe Mr. Hanson has that one. Hey, good morning.
This is a proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners designating April 12th through the 18th, 2026 as Public Safety Telecommunications Week in Flagler County. You know, nowhere in this proclamation does it say that you're the 911 call center. So I want to make sure everybody knows what we're talking about here, that you're the lifeblood of the whole system. So with that said, whereas emergencies that require law enforcement, fire, or emergency medical services can occur at any time, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of law enforcement officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our law enforcement officers, firefighters, paramedics is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who contact the Flagler County Emergency Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunications are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunications are the single vital link for our law enforcement officers, firefighters, and paramedics by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunications of Flagler County have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, the suppression of fires, and the treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Now, therefore, the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners do hereby proclaim the week of April 12th through the 18th, 2026 as Public Telecommunications Week in Flagler County in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our county and our citizens safe. Adopted this 6th day of April 2026, attested to by Tom Bexley, Clerk of the Court and Comptroller, and signed by our Commission Chair, Leanne Pennington.
All right, motion, sir?
I move that we approve April 12th through the 18th, 2026 as Public Safety Telecommunications Week in Flagler County.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for having us and for this proclamation. I'm Christina Mortimer. I'm the Emergency Communications Director. With me today, I have Janice Cacavalli. She's the Emergency Communications Manager. We are here on behalf of everybody in the Communications Center to say thank you for this proclamation. We use National Public Safety Telecommunicator Week as a week-long celebration in dispatch. I walked in this morning, they already have it all decorated. It's going to be a concert theme, so we got a bunch of rock theme stuff hanging from our ceilings, but it's a week to just kind of show them that we appreciate the hard work that they do every day. We have a comm center. We are considered a medium-sized communication center. We have 27 employees, but we're relatively small. I don't know if you've ever been to any other centers, but you walk in and we're very close. We're a big family in there, and they do a phenomenal job. I can't say enough about the work that they do. Last year, they answered a little over 50,000 911 calls. In addition to that, they also answered the non-emergency calls for the entire county. So, and that was just about 90,000. In addition to the calls, they also are responsible for dispatching for all of the public safety agencies in the county. So they are handling all radio traffic for police, fire, and EMS. So they are amazing at what they do. We have a very tenured center. I would say most of our dispatchers have been there 15 plus years. We have one that's been there 32 years. Janice is almost at 25, so it just shows their commitment to this community. It's not a job, it's a calling. And once we find those people that really have that passion for this job, and that's why we're very lucky to have everybody we have in there. Obviously, this past year has been a big change for us coming over to the county. It's been great, but if I could personally say thank you to my staff for standing behind me, because it was a lot of work, but everybody's doing very well and we're happy, and I can't thank administration and my new fellow directors, because I've had to lean on them for a lot of guidance, so very appreciative for that. But thank you on behalf of everybody in dispatch. And yes, telecommunicators and public, it's a fancy word for 911 dispatchers. That is what we are. Thank you.
You're a very welcomed group to the county. We're glad to have you with us.
We feel that. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So how are you celebrating this week? What do you have planned? Anything?
We have lots of food. We have all of our public safety partners. They sponsor a day. They bring food for both day shift and night shift. We have giveaways that we give away. Bought some stuff between Janice and I with some gifts to hand out. And internally, we also have a wellness committee. It's a volunteer-based committee that our own staff decided to do to take care of each other. And they've raised some money just throughout themselves, and they're going to do some giveaways throughout the week as well.
Well, you deserve to be celebrated.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would you
very
like to come
much.
up for a picture? Thank you.
Sorry. Sorry, Andy. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Okay, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. Good. Thank you.
Concert food.
There you go.
All right, our final proclamation, National County Government Month, April 2026. I believe this was with Commissioner Dance.
I've got it, thank you. Mr. Mengel,
Hey,
morning, sir.
Good morning.
This is a proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners designating April 2026 as National County Government Month in Flagler County. Whereas the nation's 3,069 counties serving more than 330 million Americans provide essential services to create healthy, safe, and vibrant communities. And whereas counties fulfill a vast range of responsibilities and deliver services that touch nearly every aspect of our residents' lives. And whereas counties as intergovernmental partners enact local, state, and federal programs to address the needs of all residents. And whereas Flagler County and all counties take pride in our responsibility to protect and enhance the health, well-being, and safety of our residents in efficient and cost-effective ways. And whereas the nation is celebrating 250 years of independence this year, and counties have long and rich history of serving residents. And whereas Each year since 1991, the National Association of Counties has encouraged counties across the country to elevate awareness of county responsibilities, programs, and services. And whereas Flagler County appreciates the ongoing work of the National Association of Counties and the Florida Association of Counties in advocating for the importance and effectiveness of county government, as President Lyndon B. Johnson said, government is best which is closest to the people. Now therefore, the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners do hereby proclaim April 2026 as National County Government Month in Flagler County and encourage all county officials, employees, schools, and residents to participate in county government celebration activities. Adopted this 6th day of April 2026, attested by our Clerk of Circuit Court, Tom Bexley, and our Chair, Leanne Pennington. I make a motion to approve this proclamation.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Good morning, Mr. Mingle.
Good morning, ma'am. Adam Mangle, County Administration. Just wanted to bring this forward and have April recognized in this way. Our counties are important. We wanted to make sure that our residents know that as well, and our role in the government, and especially the advocacy that we've had from both Florida Association of Counties and the National Association of Counties. We appreciate their advocacy for not just Flagler County, but all the counties, and appreciate the recognition on behalf of the employees of Flagler County. Thank you.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so much, sir.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you. Do you want a picture?
Sure.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. That should be good. Thank you.
All right, this brings us to our community outreach. This will be a 30-minute time period allocated for public comment on any consent agenda item or topic not on the agenda today. Each speaker is allowed to approach the podium, give 3 minutes to address the commission, approach, identify yourself, and direct comments to the chair. So we'll go ahead and open up public comment for community outreach. Okay. Going once, going twice. Doesn't look good. All right, I'll go ahead and close public comment. We'll move on to the consent agenda. First off, does anybody have any, before we talk about any items to pull, does anybody have any comments on the consent agenda, questions?
No, ma'am.
None from Mr. Dance? No. None from Mr. Hanson? None from Ms. Richardson? I'll take a minute for Ms. Carney, okay? She'll just give her just a second here. I think she thought there'd actually be public comment, so she could excuse herself. We'll just wait. Yeah. No. We understand. We didn't have any public comment. Is there any item you have any questions about or comments for the consent agenda? Ms. Carney.
No, I have, I just had a question on 7H. These are the grants with FDOT. I read them as thoroughly as I could. I don't know if Hamid is here. Maybe Mrs. Petito can talk to it. Is this the end? This is the end of the funding for Reach 2?
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is actually the funding that we had coming back to us from Phase 1 or Reach 1. Okay. This was the additional funding that was going to come back to us as part of the Reach 2 project.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I had, Chair.
Okay. Now, is there any items on the consent agenda anyone wishes to pull?
No, ma'am.
All right, any down from here? Mr. Dance, anything from you? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chairman, I move we approve the consent agenda.
All right, I have a motion to
Second.
approve and a second by Ms. Carney. All those in favor signify with aye.
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 All right, we're moving on. We're moving on to item 8A. This is the consideration and confirmation of interim county administrator Adam Mingle. This is a request for our board to consider and confirm the appointment and agreement of interim county administrator Adam Mingle. Is there, I know this was a consent agenda item. I don't think there's a presentation for it specifically, so I'll go ahead and open it up for any questions from our board, comments from the board.
Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
So it may just be a technicality. I've mentioned it several times and it doesn't seem to get answered. So the contract with Mr. Mangle starts today, the 6th day of April. But Mrs. Petito will be leaving on the 10th of April. Is there a duplication there? Is there any reason for that they don't coincide or they don't back-to-back?
It should read, you're approving it today. It goes into effect on Saturday, the 11th. So I am here through the 10th to continue this week with Adam.
It says effective the 6th day of April.
I believe that came from the attorney's office.
Right.
But it should also have in there the reference to the 11th, or was that stricken?
No, it has today.
It has the 6th on everything.
That needs to be corrected, or?
I think I'd like to ask our attorney if he has some feedback on that.
Well, the agreement as presented was for an agreement to, because the vote was to install a interim administrator, and if the vote is to occur at the meeting, then that effective date will be the 6th. That was the draft that was drafted, then presented back to administration for review. So now you have the prerogative to amend and revise the agreement at the end of the day. The intention of the draft agreement that was reviewed and drafted and revised by our office was that we would be appointing an interim county administrator today. Hence, that once that would be effective, the effective date of that agreement is April 6th.
But you can change it to the 11th so they coincide.
You can change, if the intent
Motion
is
would
to
be-
have a transition date, then you can change that date to make it effective the 11th to coincide with that. That is fine. But that was the draft that I presented, that I drafted, sent back to administration for their review and revisions.
All right, that answers my question. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions or comments?
What would be the difference?
Well, Madam Chair, I move that we approve we confirm the appointment of Adam to as interim county administrator to take effect on the 11th of April.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Hanson.
Second.
Okay, I have a second. I'd like to go out for public comment at this time. I'm going to open up item 8A for public comment. Those wishing to discuss it are welcome to approach and speak for 3 minutes. Just state your name. All right, seeing none, I bring it back. Any other additional comment before we move through with the motion?
I would just like to thank, we most likely won't be meeting with Mrs. Petito again. And I'd just like to thank you for your service and your leadership throughout these past 5 years at the administrative level, and then followed by many, many years at other levels with the county. I think you're not going to be going too far away, but I wish you luck in your future endeavors with the county or with where we are. Thank you, Heidi.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I'm the longest serving commissioner up here, and I've sat through 3 county administrators. And Ms. Petito is by far the best and that I've served with. And it's criminal that we're letting her go at this point. She has a lot to do with the success of this county and the success we've had in maintaining our reserve fund and adequately funding our ridiculously hard budget. We never have enough money. So she makes it work. And thank you, Heidi, Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you, Ms. Petito, for everything. We appreciate it. You could tell when you stepped in what dire straits the county was in. It's very evident, particularly with what we've gone through recently with the CFO, just getting all the information from Brian and staff, that you walked into a mess, and you've left it a lot better than what you came into. So we appreciate it. Thank you, and we'll see you again around the county. Any other comments?
Sure. Thank you, Ms. Petito, for your service to the county. This is another odd ending process here. The transition, right, is stating your final day and the transition to Mr. Mengel. And I think, it is interesting as we go through the CFO's process. This past week, it falls upon the county to take time to tell the story of the past few years of where we did come from. You mentioned it, Chair, in the 2018-19 area with Mr. Cameron coming on board and then transitioning to Ms. Petito. And as I look at some of the finances, right, it is important to note the progress to our AA+ rating, which is reflective of our efforts to build up our reserve fund, which is mandatory here in Flagler County as a coastal county. We've seen how long it takes to get reimbursed by FEMA and the federal government. When we have a storm and we are required to pick up the pieces and clean the county back up, it's when those reserve funds are needed. And I think, right, even with those reserve funds now, we are earning income off of interest on those, which is saving the county money, helping our taxpayers, and giving us a little bit of additional income to address some of the needs. Again, a long way, a process of saying thank you, because there's a lot of things that go unnoticed, but the employees will miss your leadership, and again, thank you for your time with the county, and best of luck.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Hanson and a second by Mr. Dance. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Seeing none, the motion carries. So we're moving on to item 9A, I believe. This is the first reading of an ordinance relative to the contractor licensing code to update definitions regarding contractor licensing to mirror state definitions, eliminating local license testing, and allowing for renewal of existing licenses and reciprocity. That's a fun word. Hey.
Good morning.
How are you? Good to see you.
Thank you. Sarah Spector, Assistant County Attorney. The proposed ordinance that you have before you today is a result of collaborative work with staff, with our building staff, and also with the Flagler Home Builders Association. As you've seen in the staff report and from the draft ordinance, there's been some state legislation that has, in essence, preempted licensing to the state for our local contractors. They have essentially said, the state has said in their legislation that unless your license types are identical to our state license types, then you are not able to license that type of contractor. So that, together with the fact that our local licensing, we didn't have as much control over our local licensing testing company that we would have liked to, we have instead decided, and the chief building official back in September decided that it would be best to require all testing to go through the state. So for licensing going forward for our contractors, while we have amended all the definitions in the code to match the state license types, we are requiring licensing to go through the state. That being said, everyone that has local licensing with Flagler County will be able to continue to renew those licenses. Provided they keep those renewed, they will continue to hold that license rather than have to go to the state to get their state certification. They can continue to be state registered, being the difference between those two. It also allows for reciprocity to continue, though our reciprocity standards are higher than the typical standard that the state allows for, in that the state only requires a passing score of 70 on their license exam. We are requiring a 75, and we are also requiring the business and law exam rather than the class that we had previously allowed our licensing individuals to take. So now, if you are going to reciprocate in from another jurisdiction, you can do that, but you do have to have the tests and the passing scores that we require, not just the basic testing that scores that others would require. So all in all, like I said, we do have the support of the HBA in that they are supportive of how we have addressed all the issues, licensing, reciprocity, and the renewals going forward. So if there are any questions, this is our first reading, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and it will come back to you again at the end of this month.
I have a quick question. So you're pretty much saying we're strengthening our contractors in Flagler County.
Absolutely.
To be better than the average, because the average is 70, so we're bringing it up a little step. So if somebody is currently building, a builder or construction, it's construction in any kind, right? So if some contractor is only locally certified, they don't have to go if they're currently in our books? Is that what it is? Or they do have to go for the state?
They do not have, if they have a local, they're locally registered, and I do have the chief building official and building permit.
Okay, great.
They're all coming in. If they're already locally registered,
right,
then they can continue to renew on their biannual. So they do not have to pass with the 75 if they're currently licensed.
So it's more or less
It would
the
be
newcomers.
those that are coming in from
The
other.
newcomers, okay.
Correct.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you making it significant. Thank you.
So this is a tier 2, correct?
Yes, thank
Won't
you.
impact tier
Yes.
1. Does it sound like it, or what, from what it looked like, it wouldn't impact? So it'd be a tier 2. My question is there, I know that we're going to continue to allow them to renew those existing licenses, but if they miss it by a day, it wasn't really defined in there. If they miss the renewal by, is there any window of, or is it you miss it by a day, you're out and you can't get it back? Is that it?
Unfortunately, that
Okay.
is how it's set to.
Okay, and then I don't know if are we able to, you probably wouldn't know this, maybe Ed and them would know, identified the tier 2 impacted. Are we going to get any kind of communication out to them, letting them know, you've got to renew at your renewal date or else?
In speaking with staff last week, I do know that they're working on a website update to notify all those, and there will be a campaign to notify those that need to renew so that they don't lose that.
That's good, yeah. I just don't know what the negative outcome could be, I don't know how many there are of tier 2. I want to make sure they get in here and renew. They should be renewing on time, but you know how people are. So I just don't want them to be caught surprised, and it could impact, long-standing workers in our community. So I just want to make sure that we get some sort of form of communication out to the tier 2 if we can identify them. If we can't identify them, maybe we put something out on social media.
We have identified them.
okay.
We do know the numbers, and we are working towards that.
Okay. All right, I agree. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Just a quick question. On the staff report, and this is probably just the way it's written, paragraph 2, contractor license types that are similar but not identical to state-issued licenses. Accordingly, the proposed ordinance in part aligns the county's specialty contractor license types with the state. What does in part mean?
That, I apologize, I can see how that was read. It's
Fine.
meant that part of the ordinance brings all of the statutory definitions in line with our license types. It also does something else. So I was just saying, we bring all of our definitions in line, and we also say that licensing is being deferred to the state.
And then, again, this is just a clerical. At the very end of the report, it says the board's April 20th, 2026 meeting at 9:30 a.m. It's a 5:30 meeting. You might want to change it to 5:30. I don't know, because it's the first reading, it's not a big deal.
Correct, and I do know that it was published correctly in the paper.
Okay, great. Thank
One
you.
thing I did forget to mention, and I completely apologize for that, is that we did present this to the Contractor Review Board and did have unanimous recommendation of approval from them as well.
Thank you.
Anything, Mr. Dance? Any questions?
No, I just more whittling away of local control and.
So I did ask, I mean, it's not something we have to do necessarily, but we can't get a testing, we can't verify that our testing holds up to the state standard because they don't really provide that information.
Right. One of the genesis of this was that there was a question as to whether our local testing center was providing a test that was equivalent to the state's test. We can't prove that because they will not provide a copy of the test. And because most other jurisdictions are going to the state, and then there's no question of whether the testing that's being provided to these contractors is a state equivalent, we thought it was best to go that way.
Because there's a part of me that doesn't want to let this go through because I know a lot of people that just use this program and they just want to work in their county or the surrounding counties. It would be nice to try to find a testing that we could stand up a testing so that we can meet that requirement. But I don't think it's possible. It looked like from what I was out on the websites because you had given me the two names, and it just didn't seem possible. That they provide that information, because obviously they don't want the test out there. So it's kind of, I'm not sure what to do. I don't know how the state expects us to verify that it matches the standards that the state, you think that they would tell you the vendor that they approve or anything, but they don't. So I don't know a way around it.
Do we know how many businesses are being impacted under this?
Jennifer Bennett, Building Services Manager. We have 255 licenses. 139 of them are state registered, which as long as they stay valid with the state, 116 are local. And they'll be able to continue. They're basically, in lack of a better word, grandfathered.
As long as they renew on the day or before
Correct.
that, yeah.
Correct.
And that's the group that we need to communicate to, that we're doing this, so that they know you've got to stay on top of your licensing.
Correct.
Or
And
you
our
can lose
licensing
it.
coordinator has made communication weekly. He's calling people.
Okay.
And we're going to update our website and send out letters.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't find a way around it because I couldn't find the testing. I worked all weekend looking.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that we're going to keep our standards high. In these heavy building times, I'd like to know that the best are out there working and people that are looking to do a better job than maybe they got through with before. So to me, making that little bit of a difference may mean a lot later on if we should have some disasters or some problems with properties that are not done properly. So thank you for your interest in that.
Thank you. So this is the first reading, so we'll have time. Maybe something will shake out and we can figure it out between then. Before I entertain a motion, I'm going to go ahead, if it's okay with everybody, open up to public comment. Public comment for item 9A, the first reading of the ordinance relative to contractor licensing code. Any comments? Seeing none, I'll close item 9A. I'll bring it back for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the first reading of an ordinance relative to the contractor licensing code to update definitions regarding contractor licensing to mirror state definitions and eliminate local license testing and allow for renewal of existing license and reciprocity.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Hanson, a second by Ms. Richardson. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none, motion 9A passes, item 9A. Moving on to item 9B, this is a quasi-judicial, project number 2025-1150, request for waiver to off-street parking requirements in the residential limited commercial district of 5949 North Ocean Shore Boulevard. Good morning. I'm going to go ahead and ask the question, quasi-judicial, has anybody had any contact or conversations with the applicant? We'll start with Mr. Dance.
No, none.
Not since the last meeting, no.
I have had conversations with the applicant regarding their trees on their property and parking for their employees.
I've received emails from people that
From
live-
residents, we have emails from residents as well.
I also spoke with the applicant, ran a very short, brief conversation, but nothing pertaining to how I would feel about any of this, because I think we have to, I think this is a bigger step than just this location.
Thank you. All right. Hi, Chuck. How are you, sir?
Very good. Chair, members of the board, good morning. Chuck Miranda, Acting Growth Management Director. I'd just like to say I was here when Ms. Petito was appointed 5 years ago, and I'm here for her last meeting. I just want to say thank you, Heidi. We all appreciate you. And I want to congratulate Mr. Mingle for his appointment. I look forward to continue working with him as I've had in the past several decades. And congratulations, Adam. Okay, what we have before us is an application for review for flexibility of parking in the RC district. Address is 5949 North Ocean Shore. This is a proposed restaurant. Owner is A1A5949 LLC. This came before you on March 16th as a two-part parking waiver. The alternative surface was approved by the board, but the decrease in the number of spaces was continued to this meeting. And once again, that was on the March 16th meeting. So the property is on the east side of North Ocean Shore, just north of the Melicompra A1A intersection. And the land use is mixed use. Zoning is split between C2 and RC. It's not in a floodplain, no wetlands. And as you can see, this is the existing site. The restaurant building was, as far as we see it, it was built around 1972. And you can see it in the lower left-hand corner, very close to the property lines. It's a non-conforming legal structure. In our code section states that it cannot be renovated or improved more than 50% of the value. So the building is old, it has safety issues, so the decision was made that they would have to put more than 50% of the value in, so the decision was to demolish the building. And like I said, you can see it in the lower left corner how close it was to the property lines. This is what they presented at the last meeting. You can see the new building. You can see the parking in the front. They received several variances to locate the building where it is. You know, those variances were approved by the planning board. And you can see they had a brick patio in the back, and that's been eliminated. So they have two alternatives for the board to decide. Here's the first one. They moved the brick patio, as the board had commented, on future outdoor seating. So as you can see, there's no hard surface in the back of the building now versus what was there before. So also they refined the number of employees. When they came the first time, it was 5 employees. And now they added 4 more, it's 9 employees. And also, they don't have a design of the restaurant yet because of the feasibility of designing a restaurant when you don't have approval. So they also refined the gross seating area from 1,800 to 1,500. And our parking requirements are based on gross seating area. So it's 1 space per 50 square feet of gross seating area. The term is not an industry standard. We've seen customer service area, we've seen different other ways to calculate parking. So the gross seating area is a very broad term, but they've reduced, or refined their area to 1,500 square feet. So as you can see, the new calculations in the first plan result in I believe it is a reduction, or excuse me, look at a reduction of, I think, 2 spaces now versus what they had before. Yeah, reduction of 2. So that would be the waiver they're requesting. Let me verify if it's 2 spaces. Hold on. Excuse me, they have a negative net 2 spaces, but they're still requesting a 6-space reduction from 39 spaces to 33 spaces. That's what this drawing represents. And that would be your new waiver of 6 parking spaces. In talking about our parking code, our only relief, or the applicant's only relief, is through the board for a waiver of spaces. Our code is outdated compared to other local jurisdictions. Other jurisdictions would accept the parking study through the ITE parking manual based on current restaurant operations, or would allow to have lease parking. We don't allow any of that in our code. And I believe they do have lease parking next door, but we don't count that as parking spaces. And even if they had a parking study, we still wouldn't accept it because our code doesn't. So the only relief they get is through the board. So that is their waiver plan right here. You can see all the facts on it. Now, they also have a Plan B, which they would meet the parking requirements of 39 spaces. And they would shift the building back. I'm going to show you the first one. The building's going to shift back, what is that? About 20-some feet, I believe. And they would then have the proper number of seats in this. Plan B, we're going to call it. So, and I know there's a question about trees as far as what's required on the site. So the current tree code is a 50% preservation. And they far exceed that in both cases, both Plan A and both Plan B. And the language in the code talks about 50% of the total pre-development caliber inches existing on the site. So it's what exists on the site. It's not back when the building was built in 1972. It's the way staff interprets existing caliper inches on the site as the code says. So I just wanted to clarify that. So we're going to the history of it. As I said, the lot's 29,000 and some change square feet, split zoning. The existing restaurant built around 1972, and I talked about the 50% renovation threshold. So we are looking today at what happened at 16th, which I talked about the deviation from the surface parking requirement to allow the shell from the paved surface. And the continuation on this item. So in summary, the restaurant seat area was fine-tuned from 1,800 to 1,500 square feet. The number of staff was increased per the restaurant operator from 5 to 9. And there are two alternatives that we showed you. Leave the restaurant at the same location and have a waiver for 6 spaces, or move it back, shift it east, it's 29 feet, and then no waiver would be required. And there's the summary of what I spoke of on concept A and concept B. The 6-space waiver versus the 0, and the number of net preservation is 70 inches versus required 50. So the options today for the board are to approve the waiver, the 6-space waiver of the parking, and allow the restaurant to be built as option A, or to deny the waiver for the parking request. I believe the applicant has today, they have the restaurant operator today, and they also have their legal counsel, which they didn't have last time. So I submit my report for the record, and I stand for questions. Thank you.
Sir, can you move it back to the last slide, just so we have the, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and open up this item for discussion. We know the applicant is here and able to speak. Are you the attorney for the applicant?
Thank you. Rob Merrill for the record with Cobb Cole Law Firm. My office address is 1 Daytona Boulevard in Daytona Beach. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Again, congratulations to Adams, as Chuck said, and thanks, Heidi, for your tenure. So appreciate you guys. You know, we really, I think, I'm new to this, unfortunately. Jay Livingston has been involved in this project throughout, so I'm pinch hitting for him. So hopefully some grace for you guys would be helpful. But I've reviewed the file, I've looked at everything, and I listened to your minutes. I looked at the tape. So I see a lot of good questions that have come up, both from you guys and from folks that spoke from the hammock. I think the biggest thing that came out of me is both you guys and the folks in the hammock would like to see a nice new restaurant concept in the hammock. It's good for the hammock, it's good for the community, and I think it's an exciting new project for you guys that'll, I think, be very positive. I understand the questions that were raised. I think Chuck did a good job talking about how the changes occurred in terms of the calculations, hopefully giving you some answers. But as I reviewed the record, if you will, the thing that occurred to me that was probably the most important was we didn't have our restaurant operator with us last month. And so Bruno came from New York yesterday, missed, I think, his family Easter to be here, because I just thought it was important for you guys to hear sort of how this concept's going to work. I think it's exciting. I think he's been doing this for a very long time. You guys may know him. And he will be able to walk you sort of through both the concept and sort of the inner workings of it, and hopefully answer questions for you. I know that there may still be some folks from the hammock that have questions or concerns, so I want to make sure we had the opportunity to try to respond to them after you guys hear from Bruno. And we've got our whole rest of our group here if you have any questions about the building or anything else. So with that, Bruno, it's all you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Or yes, good morning. Thank you for your time. My name is Bruno DeFabio. I have been in the hospitality industry my entire life as an owner since 1993. I hold a bachelor's degree in business management from Stony Brook University, and I have my graduate degree in food and beverage management from Cornell University. Today, I operate multiple restaurant concepts throughout Florida, and I remain actively involved in both the operational and strategic side of those businesses. I also continue to invest in my education on a daily basis, studying evolving hospitality models and guest behavior, service systems, and leaders in our industry, because in hospitality, like in many other areas, if you're standing still, you're falling behind. So what I'm presenting this morning is not just experience, it's decades of hands-on experience combined with continued learning and modern execution. That brings us to Modern Mex. I think it's important to clearly define the concept. Modern Mex is a refined full-service Mexican restaurant built on discipline, simplicity, and execution. It's not a high-volume concept. It's not a fast turnover restaurant or a traditional large menu operation where you might see combo plate concepts. We're not offering dozens of combinations designed for speed and volume. We are not building something that relies on constant turnover to succeed. Instead, we are focused on a tight, curated menu built around quality, consistency, and control. That means scratch-prepared items using high-quality ingredients. A deliberately limited number of dishes so that each item can be executed properly every time. It's going to be a menu that is built around composed plates that reflect a more modern and elevated approach. So, not to say anything bad about salsas or those type of Mexican restaurants, but that's not what we're getting here. We're intentionally avoiding menu bloat because larger menus don't create better restaurants, they create inconsistency. And inconsistency can lead to operational stress, slower service, and a worse guest experience. So just as important, the menu is intentionally engineered to balance the kitchen. This is something that comes from real operational experience. We designed the menu so that no single station is overwhelmed during peak periods. No part of the line is sitting idle, and the workload is evenly distributed across the team because when one station gets slammed and another is underutilized, you can imagine the chaos that ensues. Tickets back up, timing breaks down, and the entire experience suffers. So by balancing the menu properly, we create consistency, predictability, and control. And this allows us to operate efficiently with a smaller team without sacrificing quality. This is a disciplined kitchen, not a chaotic one. So I'd mentioned as my studies go, I study hospitality. I've dedicated my life. A key framework we follow comes from the modern hospitality thinking, often referred to as the 95-5 principle, where 95% of what we do must be consistent, disciplined, and executed correctly every time, and that includes food quality, timing, cleanliness, and service flow. The remaining 5% is where we create moments of genuine hospitality, that the part that guests will remember. But that 5% only works if the 95% is supported properly. And that support depends on space, layout, and flow, which is why we're here today to discuss all of this. I want to emphasize that this plan is grounded in real-world experience, and over the course of my career, I've developed and operated multiple restaurants, and I understand how space impacts performance and how staffing aligns with service, how guests' behavior affects flow and demand, and this is not theoretical. It's based on what actually works, and I take the responsibility seriously, because when a restaurant is designed incorrectly, it creates problems for the business, for the staff, and quite frankly, even for the community. And we're designing this to hopefully to avoid those problems from day one. The Hammock is a community that continues to grow and evolve, and with that growth comes the need for thoughtfully designed, well-operated establishments. And we believe that Modern Mex fits that role. It's controlled in its operation, disciplined in its execution, and designed to complement the community, not to overwhelm it. Modern Mex is about thoughtful hospitality, disciplined execution. It's about doing things the right way, not the fast way, and not the easy way. You have any questions for me?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
So the building size remains the same, but you're reducing the seating area by 300 square feet. What happened to that 300 square feet? Where did it go?
So the 300 square feet, there's different things that we're looking at. Sanitation rules from the health department, we've taken into consideration expanding thoughtfully and considerately about recycling and things of that nature. We've also decided to, as I was mentioning earlier, create a more efficient plan. balancing the kitchen so we can have not as many staff members as you would think. We've taken the time to introduce new equipment to the operation. I don't know if, I doubt any of you have heard of a rationale oven. A rationale oven is a combination oven. It's about, I think, about 4 feet wide, about 5 feet tall, and about 3 feet deep. And what's great and unique about that, and not to be confused with something that you might see like in a hospital setting, this oven allows you to create multiple different meals and hold them in a moist way at different temperatures. So you could hold medium rare and it'll be a constant medium rare for 2 hours. I mean, that sounds like impossible, but that's what they've come up with recently. So the additional square footage, I think, would go to more being efficient. That's the best way I could answer that, Commissioner.
Well, I ask that because we've been burned a couple times by approving parking for X number of square feet. And as soon as the restaurant opens and gets going, they expand their seating without consideration to the parking. And then we have a parking problem. So
I understand.
I don't want to see that happen with this restaurant.
I don't think you're going to see it happen because if you were following my gist, we are an upscale, I would say an upscale restaurant, performing at optimal levels. Great Mexican concept, and it's again, like when I made mention to the combination plate where you're scooping rice and beans and stuff like that. That's not what we're doing. You're not sitting. I've gone to some Mexican concepts where you sit down, you order, and less than 5 minutes you have the food at the table. Like those are designed for quick turnover. That's not what we're doing here at all. So I really think that parking isn't going to be overwhelmed like people might think it is. Go ahead.
Commissioner Hanson, can I also say, Rob Merrill again for the record, we're going to be going through the process with your staff to bring forward an actual plan that shows the seating. And it will have to line up with what's being approved tonight. So we have to meet those standards with this 6-space variance. If we do something different, anybody can do something and be in violation of the law. We don't intend to do that, but as we go through the process to get the actual building permit approved, it will line up with what we're talking about. Unfortunately, I don't have a floor plan to show you. We do have one, but am I right that we don't have one to show, guys? But it actually shows the layout. So it would answer your question graphically, but as we go through the process of getting that building permit approved, it will line up with that. I can assure you. You had more?
Just one quick one, Commissioner Hanson. So in hospitality and in restaurant design, it's very, very common to dedicate 1/3 of your square footage to back of the house. I think what we're doing here is we're dedicating more, about half, 50%. So that's not something that we could convert later. That's not like, something that we're going to be able to say, hey, let's create more space. Let's create a bigger dining room by knocking out another, 300 square feet from the kitchen. So I did not realize that, but I think that is very, very effective. Every day in school, I'm going back many, many years, but that was the general rule, 1/3 for back of the house. And that would include, the dish area and the storage and all of that. We're dedicating, I think, 1,500 square feet, which is a really big number to sacrifice for back of the house.
If you want the floor plan, I have it, but it's on a phone. We can probably do it here if you're interested in seeing that level.
Carlos, can we have the overhead?
I have a quick question. Do you know how many seats you're going to have? What's your seating, roughly? Do you have an idea?
I don't think that it has been drawn, but if you want, I could.
It has.
Oh, it has?
So this is it here. I'm going to try to see if you guys can get it all.
He's working on it. Thank you.
Play the Jeopardy music. Oh, there you go.
So you probably can't see the numbers, but that gives you the layout. And if I can blow this up over here, you'll see the actual seating. So is it 92? Is that right, guys? It's 92.
20 bars.
That gives you the layout. So you're seeing kind of the back of the house, the kitchen.
Actual seating
They
area.
can't hear you.
We can't hear you
You're
'cause of the
speaking
mic.
into the
You're a
wall.
little far from the
That's-
The actual seating area is towards the front, and you'll see the back house stuff as you look at it. Sorry. So there's the actual proposed layout that we're going to have to, of course, get approved.
Is that a bar in the center?
by you
I was
guys.
going to say, it looks like a lounge area.
It has a 20 seating capacity bar, it says.
Yeah, so the bar area. There we go. Now here comes the expert on this point. Walk us around it.
Hi, good morning. Jeffrey Ladman, Lads Coastal Construction, 27 Village Drive, Ormond Beach. So, can you hear me fine through this?
Now you can.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So what we have here, basically what we took before was a rough estimate before we did anything. We didn't want to pay who we have on retainer for this is BPF Design in Daytona Beach. They're super expensive, so as we were going through the variance process, we did not want to pay them to put any money towards the design until we knew what we were going to get approved for. Once we got the variances approved, going towards the last meeting, when we had some complications there, we went ahead and had him go to design the building and seating plan per square foot of occupancy code, per 15 square feet of seating per person or per seat. You can see we have, the ADA bathrooms, a kitchen area, and then there's an obvious staircase going upstairs to their alcohol closets, and there's not enough room downstairs for a manager's office. So with the design of the tall building, they have a little how do you say that? Mezzanine, thank you, area in the back, which is going to be all open, so it gives that nice height look, the modern feel, but, closed off area to where they still have storage instead of just being a wasted attic space above the bathrooms or kitchen.
I just put the second.
Oh, thank you. And then just to touch base back on the bar area, that is a bar in the middle, so the seating area does not include that outlined area of the bar or any of the areas in the back. I know there was a lot of comment about the pavers in the back. We did go ahead and remove the pavers off there, and as you can see, there is no plan or anything to cut through the back of the restaurant or have an opening in the back of the restaurant to have outdoor seating or anything like that. We weren't sure how the restaurant was going to go in the beginning of this. In the last 30, 60 days, we've kind of really zoned in on the full design of the building, front of the building, the aesthetics of it, and now the floor plan.
So your seating count does not count people seating at the bar, correct?
It does.
It does.
The 92 seats are
It
considered
does
at the bar.
consider that? Okay, thank you. I missed that.
Any questions for the applicant? Mr. Dance?
Yeah, thank you. Morning. Explain to me a little bit, the plan is to have a full liquor license, correct? I think it's all a 4 COP SFS.
Yes, sir.
Now, the statute requires, you've met one of the requirements, which is 2,000 square feet.
I believe it's 2,500 square feet.
And I may be going over. And the other one was 120 seats. So I'm curious as to how that works into the equation.
Well, I'm under the assumption that we're still designing it, so 2 COP and 4 COP, I mean, we would be at the mercy of the liquor authority. So whatever we would qualify for is what we would get. If we had 92 seats and they required 120, then I guess a 4 COP we wouldn't be able to get. But that would be for the liquor license expediter or the liquor license expert or the liquor license attorney to determine.
Can I just say that we're not going to change the plan in order to try to do that unless we came back to you guys. What you see is what you get.
Okay. Mr. Hansen's question was the other one that I had. The 92 seating within the area that you've described is more reflective of the upscale. I was having a hard time wrapping myself around 120 seats at 1,500 square feet. That would not be that tight of an arrangement would not be upscale. So I'm not in your business. I don't know how you go about getting the liquor license, but you'll apply for what is approved here, and they will determine whether you
that's correct. There's
meet other requirements.
They have all of their requirements. I know that one of them is the ability to serve 120 meals. So I know that for sure the liquor authority is trying to police people from opening bars and saying, you know, like, hey, we have a microwave in the back. We could microwave a couple pizzas. That's our kitchen. They want to see a full kitchen with a full hood and the ability to serve 120 meals at once or something like that. And then after you are open for a few months, they will do an audit of your books to see that I believe more than 60% of your sales comes from food and not liquor. So they're just trying to police that you don't have a bar only and a kitchen just in name, like, you know, just a kitchen with a regular refrigerator and you're just slapping together sandwiches and microwaved items and stuff like that, which I've seen a lot in Florida.
Are you still, I know it's the county can't consider, but are you still doing a parking agreement with the adjacent restaurant?
Yes.
So even both plans would entail that, even though I know as I understood since the last meeting, that you wouldn't be able to occupy those until 5 o'clock. I think the hours of the other restaurant ended at 5.
Yeah, and I think so. So what Chuck said is, in a lot of jurisdictions, you guys allow that as a part of your waiver or variance process. You don't allow it here, nor do you allow parking studies to be done. I do these by the hundreds, where somebody looks at it and an experienced restaurant owner can explain why they don't need those spaces. Frankly, I've got lots of jurisdictions I deal with that have parking maximums now. You know, they don't let you put more parking because we don't want too much parking. So thank God you did the non-paved part of this, which helps for the environment. At the end of the day, too much parking is a bad thing too. So I think what you're hearing at this point is you've got an experienced operator that thinks this is going to work with this number of parking spaces, with this number of seats, and that's that. I mean, so it comes down to kind of a practical consideration. At the end of the day, they're doing their best to save trees, which we know the folks in the hammock and all of us want to do as well. So that's kind of what's in the balance here, I think.
Commissioner Dance, I think also, I'm gonna bet that we're not going to use that, or even if it was available for lunch and dinner, the parking that you had mentioned, I bet you we wouldn't be using it until the evening anyway. I fully anticipate the evening being slightly busier. That would probably be our peak hours. I don't think that lunch would be very busy to the point where we would need that additional parking.
My biggest concern, now that we're kind of past the parking and the requirements for the liquor license, is that the parking design's not been fully flushed through TRC. And my concern is that when we get the engineered drawings back to meet interior landscape and make sure the islands, the end islands are big enough, is that you're going to lose a couple spaces in the engineering process. And then you're going to be back to us again.
We'll come back if we have to. We think we've done a good enough job of engineering it ahead of time. That's where I'm feeling. So if we need to come back, we'll come back.
But that's I guess that.
We hope we don't have to.
Right.
We don't think we have to. We definitely don't want to. We don't like to do this more than once. So I hear your point. We do have to refine it and get it approved, and we will.
Okay. That's all I got right now. Thank you.
I'll just say that thank you for coming back. I like seeing the picture because being a server all through college, I would love to have some of those workstations. You're looking at about 30 customers per person, 2 people on the bar, and 4 folks in the kitchen, chef, whatever, sous chef. Seems very reasonable to me. How many, in your experience, Bruno, how many staff members, and I'm not putting down people that work in restaurants, please don't hear that.
Yeah.
But I have found that not all staff people drive their own cars to work. So they may ride a bike, or they may have a moped. They may piggyback with a friend that also works in the kitchen.
You wouldn't believe how many get dropped off by mom or dad.
Right. So I'm a little bit flexible on the employee parking thing. So thank you for bringing this back with some view.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
I don't know how to work this either. It's too technical. It's a button. I was in the restaurant business for a very long time in my childhood, too long. And I worked graveyard at Denny's. Think about that. So when you go home at 7 in the morning, you know, you're already a vampire. So I appreciate what you're doing, making the changes that are going to be healthy for the community. It's really important. I have some concerns with all the parking on the Hammock. I drive there often, and I see lots of places that are overparked, and they have no place to put them. I don't know how many people are just parking aimlessly in the street. Feel it's really weird for me, because I come from Broward County, where everything was parking, and you couldn't build something without parking, and it was a very, very restrictive, Coral Springs, very restrictive. So I appreciate you taking the time to at least prepare for the future. I know we've pushed it, but we really have to be cautious on that, because I think it's a very dangerous location. Honestly, I think it's very dangerous. I pray every time I go on A1A in that area, just because of all the people that are driving, tourists, and people that are just driving 55 miles an hour and then just pulling over out of nowhere. So hopefully, I don't think there was much over there, but I am concerned. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Chuck, if I can get you to, we'll take this phone screen down and go back to the original slide from Plan A to Plan B. I don't know if we can get it back up. Mike, here, it's coming up there, but not for us. I have to turn the overhead off, Carlos. Working on it.
Here we go.
All right, if we can just go back to the comparison of A versus B. So here, I'll keep going down to the,
This is A.
yeah, if you'll go to the actual comparison screenshot, it's a second, there it is right there, thank you. So my understanding is kind of comes down to a discussion about the tree, right? There's an extra tree, whether or not they move back the building 20 feet or not. If today we don't do the waiver required of the 6 spaces, they have enough, from what I'm understanding, they have enough tree coverage to just move on to TRC, correct?
That's correct.
And take the tree down. That's in their purview to do. Remove the tree, and then they would technically hit the provided number of parking spaces and not come back to our board or the planning board for further consideration. I think that is so there is a pathway there, but we lose a tree. So there is a pathway for them. They've already gone through their variances and approvals. This is kind of wrapped around a tree right now. As long as their building meets the requirements, they get through the TRC, they get their 39 spaces and they're off. If we come back to A, which is why we're here today, we would be waiving the 6 spaces, saving the tree, but we are not allowed to take into consideration that they have some leased parking, it appears like, over at Deborah Jean's, but we're not taking that into consideration, but knowing that there is some of that option. It's hard because you're talking about parking, which is a major complaint up in the Hammock, but they also want to protect their trees. So it's a very difficult conversation to have. I do like how you broke out the bottom about the trees, the preservation, and the net preservation being identical. But I know it's not the same. But I do want to talk about the fact that there is a path forward for them through just taking the tree down and moving on, you know, and they're trying to do the right thing and leave the tree, but then it causes the conversation about parking. So That was my understanding, Andy, and Andy's right, Commissioner Dance is right. They've got to go through the technical review, and hopefully you don't show back up here with the same issue, and you're not even hitting 39. So that's my understanding on it, so just for the board's recognition. And I guess we can, if you'd like to, go on out to public comment before we make a motion and hear what the public has.
So there was discussion last time, quite a bit of discussion about parking on A1A and parallel parking, it not having a sign saying no parking, but that parallel. So I was driving down or up A1A, and the shape of water, the guy pulled right out into A1A. He backed in and out. It wasn't parallel, it was this way. It's so unsafe. I know, I mean, I don't know how a business can stand, I mean, they can't stand out on A1A and tell their people, you know, park going this way. But it was on my birthday night, and I almost got hit. So I know that there's A1A. I know there's parking problems up there, and having a well-designed, however it falls out, having a well-designed parking lot off-site is going to be important for this to be successful as far as safety goes. And will there be FDOT permits required for egress and entrance into that parking lot?
Yes, there would be a driveway application from the DOT prior to our finalizing the project. We're going to look for the application at the permit stage, and then DOT finaling it before we CO the building.
Okay. You know, Ms. Carney, bring a good point, because I saw it that night. We have I don't know what it is, a business. I don't think it's a legal business. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the shape of water is like a driveway, and there must have been 50 cars pulled up in there, and they couldn't back out properly. And that's something just to discuss in general, because that has to be dealt with. They seem to be having more and more events. I don't even know if they're allowed to have events, but they don't have parking spots. So it's just like a house party. And it wasn't safe because that was a rainy night, and I did encounter an issue there. So
I even saw a big party down by the guy who does the sculptures.
Yeah.
One night I was down there, and there was, gosh, I can't tell you how many cars parked. I mean, this is a common behavior in that area because it never prepared for this.
But this will have parking.
Shape of water hadn't come before us yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, it looks like they think they don't have to come in before us, to be perfectly honest. And here these folks are trying to get the parking in properly. There will be parking spots. So that particular area, they're backing out to get their cars out onto A1A, which is dangerous.
I just wanted to speak about the shape of water. We're
Yes,
looking
sir.
into that. We have some legal opinions right now. It's not a restaurant. It's not a business. So we're going to take action on that property soon.
Appreciate it, because it's like a driveway, and 50 plus backing out at night on A1A is unacceptable. So sorry to go off a tangent on this item. It has nothing to do with you, but we're just talking parking is an issue
Generally,
up there. If everybody's okay, can I open it up for public comment? I appreciate it. Give you a chance. Right. Okay. I want to open up item 9B, the request for the waiver to off-street parking requirements in the RC district. All those approaching the bench, state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Good morning, sir. Yes, sir. If you'll also, do you have one for the clerk? If not, I can hand it to her. Okay, thank you.
Based in, because of Ed White for the HCA.
Understood.
Could I request my extra 2 minutes?
You're speaking on behalf of the ACA? Okay.
Ed White's out of town.
Yeah, he said
All right,
that.
so we'll
He
give him
sent us a note.
Carlos will have a 5-minute for the HCA.
Take 5.
My name's William Jordan, and I live in the Hammock, and I'm talking for the Hammock Community Association today. Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners.
Morning, sir.
Ed White is out of town, and I'm taking his place. Our efforts to ensure compliance with the Land Development Code ordinances are not personal contrary to suggestions otherwise. These requirements, especially the minimum requirements for on-site parking, exist to protect the character of our community, the safety of our streets, and the quality of life for all residents. As sewer availability expands into the hammock, and commercial properties become less constrained by septic system, it becomes increasingly important that developments provide the parking required by code. Without adequate on-site parking, larger buildings on smaller lots will lead to spillover effects on public infrastructure and neighboring properties. Variances are incorporated into the LDC to provide flexibility in cases where strict application of the standards would result in an unnecessary or undue hardship due to the unique circumstances of a specific property. They are intended to address genuine practical difficulties, not to serve as a means to bypass regulations or to accommodate proposals that could otherwise be designed to meet code requirements. Variances exist to balance fairness with the broader public instance. In this case, the applicant has not provided a clear or compelling explanation for why a 3,000 square foot building is necessary. The request for the variance on parking minimums lacks demonstrated justification tied to unique site conditions. The applicant has referenced the availability of street parking along A1A as support for not meeting on-site requirements. However, A1A, as we just talked about, in this area has a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, and the reliance on street parking raises safety concerns and potential hazards. Additionally, the applicant mentioned an agreement with the neighboring business to use their lot for some employee parking, but that does not appear to be a realistic solution if both entities are open at the same time. On-site parking minimums must be met, and any expansion of seating, indoors or outdoors, should require a corresponding increase in on-site parking to avoid adverse impacts to the surrounding community. Previous experience illustrates the risks of insufficient oversight. The doubling of seating capacity at the Bronx restaurant occurred without associated increases in parking. This led to ongoing parking overflow, illegal parking, blocked access, and disruptions affecting nearby residents' daily lives, safety, and property values. Although off-site valet parking has been implemented as a mitigation measure, it has not fully resolved the issue. This example underscores the importance of enforcing parking standards at the outset rather than addressing problems after they arise. Responsible development requires adherence to the established framework of our ordinances, transparent justification for any variance requests, and consideration of long-term community impacts over individual project goals. We encourage the applicant to explore design alternatives that comply with the code and to demonstrate how the proposal serves the community without creating undue strain on infrastructure or residents. As Commissioner Carney noted, Flagler Beach has faced persistent parking challenges for more than 30 years. A recent Flagler Live article reported these issues are intensifying, prompting local government officials to seek solutions. As residents of the hammock, we have the opportunity and the tools to prevent similar long-term problems from developing here. Enforcing our current standards consistently is essential to maintaining a safe and livable community. In closing, I would like to ask 2 questions for the record and hope to get a response, as these points are critical in determining the actual number of on-site parking spaces for this applicant and future restaurant applicants. Can you please explain or have staff explain the following terms are determined from the off-street parking requirements for restaurants? I believe we talked about gross seating area earlier, but does that include indoor and outdoor seating areas? And if an outdoor seating area is later added, will that require additional on-site parking? And 2, how is the employee per shift count determined and verified? Is there any consequence if an applicant originally states an employee count of 4, but then ends up with more than 10? Thank you very much for your time and attention. We like to keep the hammock as natural as we can, and we know it's going to be a chore going forward for each and every one of us. We appreciate your attention.
Thank you, sir.
I do have an overhead here, if we could get it up. I don't know.
Carlos, we have an overhead item.
Yeah. And I am speaking for Scenic A1A, so I was hoping I could get the 5 minutes and hope that I don't need more than 3, but it's up to you.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, my name is Dennis Clark, speaking for Scenic A1A Pride. You may be aware that in 2005, Flagler County received this prestigious award for planning and growth management of the A1A Scenic and Historical Coastal Byway. This was due to your adoption of the 2004 Scenic Corridor Overlay Ordinance, which provided preservation of our unique section of the National Scenic Byway through unincorporated Flagler County. The intent was admirable, and we maintained the intended character for many years. Recently, however, we have seen a degradation of the byway through a steady stream of unenforced ordinances and various interpretations of the Land Development Code that we feel are inconsistent with the code. We also know that the code does not provide enough parking for takeout orders, DoorDash, people waiting for tables, and most importantly, expanded seating area. This parcel is a model case. Variances of 1 or 2 feet are generally granted to allow hardships. On this property, the minimum landscape buffer was reduced by 25 feet to allow for 8 additional parking spaces. Still not nearly enough to support a 3,000 square foot restaurant with 150 or 120 seats. Now they want you to believe that they will reduce the seating area by 20% with the same size building to more closely meet the reduced parking available. The rule of thumb is for seating area is 60%. And even though we saw the diagram, we did, that seating area could be changed. In addition, 11 trees are being removed to accommodate extra parking, including 5 specimen trees and 1 historic tree, and maybe another historic tree if the second plan is accepted. That's as defined in your in the latest tree ordinance, which you approved in 2024. We believe that 50% of the trees were already removed when the site was originally developed, called pre-development caliper. So how can we allow them to remove another 50%? That's one of the misinterpretations, we believe. We also know that the code does not provide sufficient parking for takeout orders, DoorDash, people waiting for tables, etc. Whether you approve the reduced parking or not, you must limit the maximum building size to maintain the seating area to not exceed the parking allocation. An approval of either proposed site plan allows a 3,000 square foot building with easy potential for enough seating area to require 49 parking spaces. And as an example, Bronx House is 2,500 square feet, so that's 500 square feet less, with 1,500 square feet of seating area, has 15 employees, we counted them, and requires more than 40 parking spaces. We hope that you will give consideration to the 15 reasons we believe that the parking space reduction not be allowed. And if I did have just 1 minute more, on the second side of this handout, RC is the type of zoning that we're in. The purpose and intent of this district is primarily intended for application to parcels within the A1A scenic corridor. The district may be used to implement the mixed-use, low-intensity category. Commercial uses are limited to those having a low impact to establish residential uses in the overall character of the corridor. They are not major generations of vehicular traffic, do not rely on exterior sales or storage, and are accordant scale to the primary residential use of the district. Permitted uses are harmoniously in appearance and have landscaped open space meeting or exceeding the requirements of this land development code. Meeting or exceeding. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, ma'am. Oh, overhead.
Good day. My name's Jody Bollinger. I live in the Hammock. I wanted to talk about parking problems generally in the Hammock. As you know, it's a big problem. This first photo, which I showed at the last BOCC meeting, shows parking in the right-of-way at Rhodey's. Additional seats were added on the porch with no additional parking provided. This second photo shows parking in a parcel to the north of Bronx. This standalone parking lot is not owned by Bronx, and it was never approved as a parking lot by the planning board. Thus, there is no controlled ingress and egress and no 25-foot buffer. The declared seating area at Bronx was doubled when tables and chairs were placed on the porch. The third photo, which you have alluded to, is our newest entrant to the parking debacle. It's the Shape of Water. This photo was taken during a recent after-hours Chamber of Commerce event. Cars are parked illegally as they're not allowed to park, they have to park parallel to A1A for it to be legal. Isn't the purpose of off-street parking requirements in the LDC to prevent these kind of situations? If restaurants continue to underestimate the number of parking spaces needed or continue to add undeclared seating area, the problem will continue to get worse. Commissioner Carney, with all due respect, mentioned at the last BOCC meeting that cars park in the right-of-way along A1A and Flagler Beach. But that's true, but it's not a justifiable reason to allow restaurants to manipulate numbers in order to circumvent the Land Development Code parking requirements in unincorporated Flagler County. Mr. Goodman, again with all due respect, sir, at the last BOCC meeting showed a photo on his phone of cars parked in front of Deborah Jean's and Modern Mex. He seemed to say that parking in the right-of-way is a viable solution to inadequate off-street parking. My point is, restaurants need to provide adequate off-street parking. Otherwise, unsafe, unsightly conditions will increase along A1A and the Hammock. And one more point. A wise woman once said to me, "Do what makes you feel good about yourself." Cutting down an historic oak tree under Plan B and obtaining an egregious 25-foot variance in order to build a 3,000 square foot restaurant only 25 feet from a private residence would not make me feel good about myself. Thank you very much, Commissioners.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Todd Swinderman. I live at 70 Sanchez in the Hammock. Just to disclose, I am a board member of the HCA, but I'm here speaking as a businessman and an owner of property on A1A. My wife and I own a two-story, 1,800 square foot building at 5404 North Ocean Shore. My wife runs a nonprofit thrift shop on the ground floor, and we have a rental apartment on the top floor. The property is approximately a half an acre in size, 100 feet on A1A and 200 feet deep. We built this property in 2014 to the largest footprint that the Land Development Code would allow. We have a 40-foot setback in front. We have a 25-foot setback on the north side next to a residence, and then the appropriate setbacks next to a business next door and the road behind. We have the required number of parking spots, and we also comply not only with the Land Development Code, but the scenic overlay. We saved all the big oak trees on this property. We could have saved some big hickory trees, but the building department wouldn't budge on the 25-foot setback, so we cut those down. We did apply for a variance to move our sign about 5 feet so that it could be seen by southbound traffic, and then we wouldn't have to ask FDOT to cut down 2 large oak trees that are in the right-of-way blocking our sign. Both the LLC that owns the building, my wife and I own that LLC, and the thrift shop have positive cash flow. And the thrift shop donates tens of thousands of dollars a year to the local community. I suggest that you have staff do an audit of what's actually taking place with the restaurants in the hammock. I think if you count the number of seats, the number of parking spaces, the number of employees that are currently being consumed and compare that to what was approved, you will have a shocking ratio. Apply that ratio to this proposal that's proposed to overdevelop this property, and you will be able to predict the future pretty accurately on what is actually going to happen. I'm not against businesses. I'm a businessman. I know Mike personally. I have no hard feelings with Mike. Simply, this project is overdeveloping this property in the hammock, and it's going to result in future problems. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Dr. Lynn Bravo Rosewater. I'm speaking today as a clinical and forensic psychologist, and I want to say that the best prediction of future behavior is past behavior. What got mentioned at the last meeting was, why is Bronx given such a hard time? Well, the reason it's given a hard time is that the building specs they gave were 750 seats, 750 square feet. When the restaurant opened, or shortly thereafter, there was a porch there. It held another 50 seats. Then, when the owners of that property bought the property behind it, and they had 20 parking spaces. When they bought the property behind it, they could have added more parking. They put in a patio, extra seats, and then they put in a bar, a garden bar over the septic system. And they built a stage and put on concerts that were did not meet the requirements you have for what's permissible in a neighborhood, decibels of sound. The parking, if you want to talk about chaos, this is where chaos comes from. Because not only were people parking all over A1A, they were going back in the side streets and they were parking on those streets. Some people couldn't get out of their driveway. Sometimes you had people parked on both sides of the street, and if you needed a fire engine to come by, I don't know what you would have done. That's the kind of chaos that the hammock has been dealing with, and it is a major problem. Here's another thing that I find very upsetting. One of the variations that the planning board granted so that they could have a 15-foot setback instead of a 40-foot setback. And a 40-foot setback does not read as up to, it says 40 feet. Gave them 8 extra parking spaces. To me, I don't understand why, if you as a board control the request for parking spaces, how a variance that they said they needed to have created them parking spaces. And it's only 15 feet. It is a deep lot. So the fact is, I agree with everyone else is saying, that you're building a building that's too big for the space that it has, and they knew that when they bought it. It didn't grow overnight. They knew exactly what it was. And they knew to go ask for 4 variances and to come before you and ask for less parking. And it seems to me it's a mockery. It's a mockery to know what the rules are, not to follow them. And when they talked about doubling the seating at Bronx, when they added the patio and the bar, they tripled it. So you can imagine how many cars there were. So it's not fair to the people that live in the hammock. Then people can come down their streets and use it as a parking lot. Wasn't meant for that. And that's the problem. You have no supervision over the weekend. You have nobody going out and checking out what's going on. None. All these problems happen over the weekend. I mean, that's when you get this big rush in so many people. So I think that respectfully, your job as a board is to say, we cannot allow this to keep going on. And that it's not whether or not we want a Mexican restaurant or a quality restaurant. Those would all be good things. But we don't want it at the expense of chaos. We don't want it that when we're driving down A1A, someone's going to pull out and hit us. So I'm asking you to please, they already gained 8 spaces, which I don't even understand how that was allowed, that they could reduce their buffer and then have space for 8 parking spaces. I think that this is a good time to take a stand and say, enough, enough. And I hope you do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other public comment? We'll give you a minute. Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment, bring it back to the board. Very brief, yes, sir.
Yeah, real brief, because there were a couple of points that are somewhat nuanced. Rob Merrill, for the record again. There was a mention, and I want to say thank you to the folks who are here. I listened to the tape earlier. I think a lot of the same things were said today, so I don't want to have to deal with those again unless you want to. But there was a comment about this being a variance process, and it's important to know that this is a different process than that. I think you guys know that, but I want to make sure the record was clear and everybody understood. This is something where you guys have embedded in your code some flexibility for things like this. It's not a variance. It's not a place where we're having to show legal hardship. It's a place where if there's some flexibility that you guys have the discretion to exercise, it's yours. The other comment that was made that has I think some legal significance is the designation of that tree that's in the back being historic, which I think that has a different significance as well. This is not a historic tree. I think Chuck testified as to that. And in fact, the tree can be removed. I want you to understand that the reason why we're going through all this is so we don't have to. We like that it's got a nice canopy. It's not historic, but it creates a nice ambiance in the back of this restaurant. I mean, you guys go to restaurants that have nice shade trees around them. It creates a benefit for us as well. So we're here, I think, balancing those things. And Madam Chair, you said it well. Us lawyers kind of make things complicated sometimes, but very simply, this is a question of whether we can save that tree and have 6 less parking spaces. We think it'll work that way. We have your experienced business restaurateur telling you it's going to work. And we're hoping that the folks that spoke today are going to be regular customers of this restaurant.
Thank you, sir. All right, any comments from the board?
Legal, Mr. Rodriguez? If Plan B is chosen, can there be a stipulation of no outside entertainment or no outside seating? Or if I guess A would give more room because there'd be a tree back there. But if A or B, can we stipulate no outside seating?
That would be tied to the site plan, which you guys do not review and approve.
Okay.
So now, whether you want to direct staff to say when this is reviewed, we're going to request this is going to be such a thing to look at or such a condition. However, that's going to involve negotiations between staff and the applicant at the site plan review process.
And site plan never comes back to us, correct?
No, site plan does not come back to you.
So if there's a building, constructed building with parking, and they want to add a patio, they go back to the building department and they work out the plans with Chuck and his crew. And then Chuck can stop it at that point?
What's been presented is the gross seating area inside. Now, if the building gets smaller or it becomes one story, which is possible, they could have outdoor seating, which counts as the gross seating area, whether it's inside or outside. But the outside seating can only be 25% of the total seating. So they could have outdoor seating if they decrease the size of the building, the gross seating area inside.
And increase parking?
Well, I guess if they were to, that could be another possibility, but they could have the same parking decrease.
Oh, inside.
Inside, because outdoor seating is also considered gross seating area, whether it's inside or outside.
Not at 0.5%, not at half. In Flagler Beach, we do half
No, it
because
would just
you
don't-
can't fill them every day because it's raining
It's
or something.
100% of the gross. The only difference is it's only can be 25% of the total number of seats.
So if we round it to 100, let's just say,
Then you could have
25 can be
25
outside and 75,
inside.
yeah.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Dance? Saw you down there. To be.
All right. Let's, Chuck, let's talk a little bit about noncompliance. So what is in place for reviewing places that are out of compliance of their site plan?
Okay, so it's our code enforcement you're alluding to?
Correct.
Okay, so once the site plan's approved, we would get the as-built drawings to show the seating area. We would compare that to what's approved. And then if they do change it down the road, it would be a code complaint. And it would be a violation of the site plan or the special exception, whichever it is. And that would be the code violation. We would send them a letter, and then we would eventually take them to the magistrate for fines that may go into liens.
What's the maximum fines that we can?
It depends on what the violation is per day, and then the magistrate would have the final say. But we would, of course, investigate first. We just wouldn't take the complaint, and we would have to investigate as to if it's a legitimate complaint.
It's right. This is we've got a lot of issues going on with this one that we're trying to solve with this one site plan. So we do, based on what the residents have said, there are ongoing issues that kind of carry over into this one. That parking issues, as I recall, 17th Street's not supposed to have any parking on it, but if you go to 17th Street, there's constant parking back from A1A, and I don't. That's the reason of the enforcement issue is at some point, right? We've got to get control of these things. So but really, where this is going. There's a snowball effect really on this one site plan as I see it. One is, right, this is the first one we're getting that has no septic area. So we don't have a set aside for a drain field, which normally takes up a large, and that's where I think a lot of times variances come into effect is because, a significant part of the site is being taken up by a drain field. And we understand back in the day, but this one, we don't even have that restriction. They've already received, four variances?
It's 4 variances, that's correct.
Right. So to Mr. Merrill, we're not talking about variances here today, but they do have an effect. They've already been administered through the planning board for accommodating the trees, the parking, as has been stated. So one would hope that the variances would be sufficient, but we're looking at a site plan that even needs
an additional parking variance beyond the variances that have been granted. Reading the land development code, as I mentioned earlier, the interior, my fear is that we're not getting an accurate representation here of what's ultimately going to be built. If I'm coming in and asking for a parking variance, my expectation is I'm going to have a fully vetted parking plan that meets the LDC requirements. And this plan is deficient in interior space. And we have to set aside in the A1A scenic corridor vehicular use areas. And even though we've made it dirt instead of asphalt, it's still a vehicular use area. So you have to set aside one planting area with at least one index tree for every 400 square feet in area. So these still have to be incorporated, correct?
Yes, we will look at the site plan. There will be a landscape plan to show those landscape area versus the vehicular use areas.
So there's at least, this is a approximately 12,000 square foot parking area, which would need 3 of these areas.
That's correct.
Which I believe, in just estimating and looking at, is going to be 3 spaces we're additionally going to take out of this design, just my guesstimate. In addition to, I think we had this other discussion, we weren't sure, but there is a state in here, interior landscape areas shall be dispersed as to define end aisles and to limit unbroken rows of parking to a maximum of 80 linear feet. And we didn't think there was a part in there that had, that means you have a island breaking up rows of parking. It actually says 80 feet, which is more strict than normal. I don't want to get into a position where I'm approving this knowing that it's going to come back to us, and then you're under a different set of pressures, having already approved it once and then having to look at another variance for more spaces.
Yeah, we didn't approve, the gross seating area is going to be dependent on the number of spaces. So if they do lack the spaces, they will have to reduce the size of the gross seating area.
Right. So I think at this point I would rather, I don't know that I can go forward knowing that there's additional, there's going to be either, the plan's going to change. I want to see, if we're going to do the parking variance, I want to see a fully vetted parking lot plan, because it's not going to come back to us. So this is the only stab we've got to look at it. And it could end up reducing the size of the footprint if we can't get that many parking spaces, or if the parking variance is too much. And this isn't an anti, like everybody said, trying to address the parking issue that we have out there proactively, and this is the process that we've got to go through right now. And I just, I think you have to acknowledge that the planning board granted 4 very generous variances at this point already. And I'm not there yet. I want to acknowledge that they did modify the employee counts, which I thank them for going back and checking that and adding those extra spaces. And I think this is the next part for me, is making sure that the parking design is actually meeting LDC codes. So I have a better understanding of the actual request. That's all I've got. Thank you.
So with doing that, I think it's important to note that the concept B doesn't have to come to the board for anything. So they could, if we don't go through with A and waive out the 6 spaces, it is within their purview to remove the tree, go through the technical review, and be done. So there's been a lot of argument about the historical trees, or whether it was a historical tree or not, but I think they're referencing the tree ordinance. The tree,
it would have to be designated by the board as a historic tree.
Right, which it hasn't been. So I don't think they would not. They don't have to come back to our.
Well, in my opinion, the parking lot will take up additional space, and they'll be back asking for a variance anyway, because the current parking lot design doesn't take into account the interior landscape design requirements, which could take up to 3 spaces of their current design. And I think so they'll be back anyway. Am I wrong?
We're going to look at those islands with the landscape plan. That's really not required for this waiver or a variance.
It's not, but it won't come back to us. If you
Right.
approve it, it's not coming
Understood.
back to us.
Understood.
But
Unless they don't meet their variance, and then it does have to come
the
back.
site plan cannot move forward without the parking being correct versus the gross seating area. So they cannot get approved site plan without those 2 numbers matching.
I mean, you could approve B, and they'll either adjust the square footage of the building, or they'll come back to us for the variance if they can't design the number of parking spaces they've shown.
Wait a minute, Chuck, didn't you say it would not come back to us, correct?
It's a site plan less than 5 acres that just goes to staff review in the TRC committee.
Well, if we approve B, the tree's gone.
There is no approval of B. B is an option for them regardless.
Their option, we have no choice on it.
Right. We're looking at A.
Yeah, we can only vote
B
on
can
A.
happen. B can happen if they go through the steps and with staff, and never to be seen again by the board unless, as Mr. Dance pointed out, there's a change again and they don't hit the number 39 on their parking.
If the site plan doesn't work out the way it's supposed to, then they would have.
Today, today as it is, you could deny A, but your tree could be gone, the tree would be gone. That's what you're really looking at today, is whether or not.
Can that tree be replanted like they did over by Publix? Is it an oak tree that we're talking about?
That was a
Or-
unique project. They
I
did
know it was a unique project. I
volunteer to
remember when they
replant
did
those.
that, yeah.
They are replanting on concept B 61 inches. They will replant to go way above what they're required. So they are
Okay.
replanting
So they are replanting.
61 inches.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's what I wanted to know. The little ones will get bigger.
So if the board is leaning towards no waiver, then we don't pass the waiver and that forces them into Plan B?
I wouldn't necessarily use the word force, but then their option is if they are not going to get a waiver, which means that they will not have approved a reduction in the amount of required spaces. So then pursuant to the code, the required parking is 39 spaces. So they're going to have to find a way to accommodate 39 spaces on the site, whether it be by removing the tree, moving the site back, or however other creative ways they can formulate and configure the lot and the construction and the parking spaces on that lot within the parameters of the code.
But if we grant the waiver, they'll have a better chance of success, because if the parking lot is redesigned or needs more spaces, they've got the waiver. So they've kind of got 6 parking spots to work with.
With the waiver, they'll have 33 parking spaces in addition to the location of the restaurant. My understanding, looking at their site plan, the location of the restaurant is moved up, and you're preserving the back tree, and I think they also have that option A included, that outdoor, I don't know if they've removed the outdoor patio area in the back is being removed.
On both of them,
That's
they're
gone. So you're looking at a comparison of preserving the tree with 6 less parking spaces, or option B is they're going to have to provide the required 39 spaces and then configure their lot however they deem to do so within the parameters of the code requirements.
But that's not what's before us. What's before us is a waiver.
It's just a waiver of 6 parking spaces to come to 33.
If we vote no waiver, they still have a way to get the parking done by moving the building and getting rid of the tree.
If you vote no waiver, they've got to figure out the way to get 39 parking spaces there.
And it's my understanding that even in A, they could remove the tree because they meet their tree standards.
Right.
Yes,
Correct.
that's correct.
Right, so even in A, but we can, if we were to pass the waiver, could we condition to leave the tree? That's my only question, I guess.
It's not a request. Whether that becomes a condition of approval of the waiver, that would be a request to the applicant to discuss, so without creating too much of an exaction onto the property.
May I?
Yes, sir.
So in this context, I think legally, I think what your attorney's telling you is you can't condition that and make us do it, but we can volunteer it, which we will do. That's Rob Merrill for the record again.
I'd rather have the tree gone and more parking spots.
Well, I think that is the truth, like it comes down to that, because see, my thing is, because there's a lot of these letters say, reduce the plan, reduce the size of the property, save the trees. It's my understanding most of this is approved, and if we try to intervene in concept B, we could end up potentially being sued. Because he can, if they find a way to fit into B, they have the path forward for B, which I'm trying to avoid here. That's my thing. I understand what Mr. Dance is saying is, we don't have the actual plans and specs, and it probably changed and could come back again for a waiver.
I'm okay with denying A because they'll be back. I'm pretty confident they'll be back asking for a waiver on B, and then we get another look at it.
Deny A and wait for B?
Well, what he's saying is once they put in the landscape and the drawing, there's a potential that they'll be back with a concept that talks about a waiver again for parking spots. But-
Or they could reduce the building.
Right, or they could reduce the building or something of that nature. But just knowing the tree argument, just saying, if you deny it, then the tree, they're willing to accept if we do A to save the tree. But that walks out the door, and that may not be an option any longer to save the tree. So B they're allowed to do. I think that's the whole.
Well, I think if
the way
parking is
this-
such an
these-
issue out there, saving one tree when you have space to regrow trees. But if that's not my option, is to take one or the other, then, okay.
It's not a one or the other. They're able to do concept B regardless of the board if they fit the parameters and make it work. And then they're just through technical review and they're done. It doesn't come back to our board. If the argument here is to save the tree, then you would look at concept A with a voluntary save the tree written into the agreement today. But if nobody's comfortable with cutting down a big oak. But that was their intention, was to attempt to save the tree, because that is an issue up there, but parking's an issue as well. But letting everyone know that concept B, however they've worked their numbers, is allowed. They'll walk out the door, they'll do a technical review, they'll back into concept B, and they won't need our board for any more approvals, but the tree would be gone. So. Any other comments? Okay. Any motion?
I'll make a motion to deny the waiver request for flexibilities to the minimum number of off-street parking spaces.
Okay, we have a motion to deny. Any second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion to deny by Mr. Dance, a second by Mr. Hanson. We'll go ahead and do a roll call vote for this quasi.
Commissioner Richardson?
I just want to hear what the motion is to make sure I'm clear.
The motion is to deny the waiver request for flexibility as to the minimum number of off-street parking spaces.
No.
Commissioner Carney,
No.
Commissioner Dance,
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson,
Yes.
Chair Pennington.
No. All right, sorry. Thank you. So
We
the,
need a motion of approval. You need a positive motion.
yeah,
Sorry.
Yep.
The code requires that there
Fast.
be two, sorry, the code requires both two things. I need a motion of approval.
Right.
I need
I
a
would
vote
like
of
to-
approval. And then I need you to enter into the record the reasons for allowing or requiring the parking deviation as is required by the code.
What?
That'll be part of the, I guess, the resolution.
so you want a motion for approval, and I do have a question, legal. In the motion, could it be to also, since they volunteered to save the tree?
Yes,
In
you can have
discussion.
that because the applicant has agreed that for the purposes of preserving the tree, the parties have agreed to that. That is a reason for tree preservation and to accommodate the uses that, based on the area of the site, that is the purpose for the parking deviation.
So the motion would be specific to what's written, and then adding in the protection of the tree in question.
And the motion,
Right.
it's specific to 6 spaces,
6 spaces.
correct?
Yes,
They-
the
yeah,
deviation is
But
it's
they have it
6.
written that way in the approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the waiver request for flexibility as to the required minimum offset parking, parking, reducing the required number of off-street parking spaces from 39 to 33 spaces for the offset parking area for the proposed restaurant at 5949 North Ocean Shore Boulevard. Said motion also includes preserving the specimen tree, I don't have a diagram, located in the rear east side portion of the lot, as indicated by the applicant.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the 6 spaces and also saving the rear tree. And I have a second by Ms. Richardson. All those in favor, want to do a roll call? Chair, clerk?
Commissioner Dance,
No.
Commissioner Hanson,
No.
Commissioner Carney,
Yes.
Chair Pennington,
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson.
Yes.
All right, the motion for item 9B is approved and saves the tree. Thank you again. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go, let's see, sorry, apologies, I'm on the wrong page, there's so much in this. They'll be back. They'll be back. We'll move on now to the county administrator's reports and comments.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners, members of the community. Just want to thank you for the opportunity to serve as your administrator. I appreciate the board taking action today and approving Mr. Mangold's interim agreement. This provides some needed clarity for our organization, and I know that Adam will bring a steadiness and integrity to the role during the transition period. I also want to share my sincere gratitude to our staff throughout this period. You guys have continued to serve the community with professionalism, resilience, and heart, and your support and dedication have meant a great deal to me. It's been an honor to work alongside such dedicated public servants, and I remain deeply committed to the community and its future, so thank you.
Thank you. County attorney, any report or comments, or?
One is brief, and one of the things I want to discuss, and we have been discussing this internally, and that is the upcoming, I guess we're trying to schedule, and perhaps we want to maybe set this for one of our future workshops, and that is looking at trying to schedule the, moving forward, the updates of the comprehensive plan as well as the land development regulations, especially in light of the current recent passage of House Bill 399, which is going to require some other tweaks to our land development regulations and certain requirements, especially now that they're looking at comp plans have to now include if you're going to deny a residential project on the basis of compatibility, you have to provide specific reasons, and saying the words neighborhood feel alone is no longer sufficient. but you have to provide exact reasons for such denials of such applications. So we've kind of begin the presentation. I think it's something that we want to present at a workshop to begin the process of moving it forward and taking it forward and trying to get see if we can get our comprehensive plan approved, even under the specter of Senate Bill 180. But then that'll get us moving along to then get the updates of our land development regulations complete as well, to be consistent with the an updated comprehensive plan. So that's one of the things we want to be working and start that timeline moving along on this. That's it for now.
Thank you, sir. We're going to open it back up for community outreach, 30-minute time period allocated for public comment for items that were not on the agenda today. Each speaker allowed up to 3 minutes to address our commission. You can approach the podium, identify yourself, and direct comments to the chair.
Jay Gardner, Flagler Beach, also the Flagler County property appraiser. I just wanted to thank Ms. Petito, and you'll be sorely missed. I think Adam will hold the flag up pretty good, but Heidi will miss you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Seeing none, I close out public comment. We'll bring it back to the commission for commission reports, comments, action. Keep them brief.
I'm trying to breathe, thank you. I have, we're sitting here over and over again about the hammock and how it's going. I think we have to figure out a certain plan on how we can get it more under control with the parking issues. It's been really serious. It is getting worse because we have more people that are interested in being a part of our commercial development. Keep in mind that that's always going to help our county with finances and, a better tax base and a healthier environment. So we have to sort of figure this out. I think it's really important. I'm glad Mr. Mengel will be around to share his thoughts on that, because I just know going there in the daytime, nighttime, it doesn't matter what time, it's really a very cautious tale. And we don't need to have, I don't know what we're going to do about it, to be honest with you, but I think we have to look into that, into our long-term plan, because it's going to keep coming up. It's going to keep coming up. It's just going to happen more and more. So safety is our number one plan, and I'd like to make sure we keep that way, and to leave it as its beautiful charm and the beautiful part of the country that we have here.
When I get hit.
But with the opportunity to maybe consider what we can do, because we're on a national road. So we're limited, I'm sure. I'm assuming so. I may be wrong on that. We may need to do some widening in spots or whatever. I don't know what to do. But I do want to look forward into this. I think it needs to be in our strategic plan. I really do. And I think that's something we really need to workshop on. I'm very concerned about it. And today just is a reminder of how important it probably is here for the safety and welfare of our community. So thank you for that. Other than that, appreciate everybody putting up with my coughing. It's a sinus thing, and I'm not happy. So
thank you.
Stay well, and I hope you all had a great Easter.
Mr. Hanson, sir.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, the operative variable here is the sewer line. Once that's in, then properties along A1A that were not developable because they had to leave room for a septic will now be developable. So it's gonna be a big burden on us, but we're gonna need to figure out how to manage that. So, yeah.
Is there not a group, did they not come before us and ask to start that process? With the pending litigation, I think we're going to hold off a little bit, or no?
The Hammock Community Association asked to Ed when he was here last time, I mean, they just have these unique constraints up there that we've probably either I need to address in the land development code when we go through, or B, or maybe both, a combination of both workshop, along with our planning board, because so many variances get us in the pinch up in that area, that maybe there needs to be an understanding between whatever boards are here at the time and planning board of the issues up there, you know, so there can strike a balance with the residents who have to live amongst that commercial. You know, there's some selective enforcement going on up there too, though. I mean, we've got to get a hold of some businesses that are not compliant, because it's not, I don't want to say it's not fair, but, you know, we keep targeting the same people, and yet we have multiple businesses not compliant. So that's not a good look. And I do, to some extent, agree with Mr. Dance. They'll probably, quite possibly be back if they can't work with either one of those plans. So I don't think that's the end of it. So you gave them a plan to save the tree, and there's a plan there to not save the tree and hit the parking number. We'll see what comes up out of it.
I really don't have much this morning, almost afternoon. Is there any consensus on the board to deal with the CFO comments? Is there a plan? Are we going to deal with it as a board? Are we going to let administration deal with it? Are we going to embrace it? Are we going to fight it? You know, do we have a plan, or do you want to discuss it?
It was a ridiculous report.
Correct.
There's no backup. There's nothing that we can look at and say, well, we could fix that or we could fix that. There's nothing there. It's a fluff report. It was a complete campaign trip by this gentleman, and that's all it was. He was down trying to make more names for him, get his name out there so he could get reelected. It has nothing, I mean, it was just fluff.
But the PR
I don't think it deserves a
But the PR
comment.
is on us, because
I don't think it deserves a comment by us.
Okay. I disagree, but I know that Mr. Mangle has requested a copy of a report. Evidently, there isn't one. I'd like to see that in writing, that there is no report. I've also followed up with his office asking for a report. We can fight it all day long, but only we know our government and only we know our budgets. So I just thought that a general comment instead of letting the press, I know that the staff put out a report.
Yeah, we made one
Put out
already,
a rebuttal.
yeah.
And if we didn't have feedback into that, so if we want to have feedback into it, or we want to discuss it further, again, no data, no explanation means I don't know what to tell people. I don't know. I don't follow social media, so if I know there's social media comments about how do we get to the 1.4 mil. I don't have answers for them, but hopefully we will have a chance to, as we work through the budget, keep the Doging concept front and center. But again, I've sent some literature to Mr. Mangle. We'll see how it goes as we move through the budget. But with everything, whether we agree with the actual number or not, it's the concept that I think that we need to start embracing, because it's not going to go away. We will not be seeing a 13 or 14% increase in appraised values. And I'd like to see them, not our own personal property appraiser's office, but I'd like to see them work towards some reform on the actual appraisal process as well. So there's lots of people out there that bought high and bought when they did, so the rates are higher than their next door neighbors, and they're all talking about what's your millage rate, what's your tax bill, what's your tax bill? We can look them all up. They're all online. So I just think that we can't just brush it under the rug. And I would hope that staff embraces it as we move forward. And I do, again, have a meeting with budgeting and accounting this week. So hopefully I can understand some of these concepts. That's all I have.
Mr. Dance?
So on the heels of that, since I have such great timing with everything, I was on the Free For All Friday, which I had scheduled a couple weeks ago to promote the town hall, and then all this comes out. So it was my duty and responsibility to carry the torch on the radio show, and then with the town hall, I've been heavy. The whole week has been exactly what you said, is trying to build back the trust. What the CFO did was come in and just blow apart our trust with the community, and that is part of the process, is building that back and explaining exactly what we have been accomplishing, and that one formulation can't be carried amongst all the different counties. There's too many variables within each of the counties. You know, where did you start from? You pick a specific year to start the process, but everybody's financial condition was different at that one year as well. So we know that we were not in the best of financial shape at that point. So we do have to tell the story. And my recommendation, I talked to administration, and happy to share my thoughts, was using the transparency dashboard to have a specific page dedicated to shining a light on the facts of the FAFO, because it wasn't Doge. Doge and FAFO are two different things. You saw your Doge report, the cover. Within that, if you go and look at January's Doge report from the state, they will highlight the differences between Doge and FAFO, and then they have about a dozen counties that they went and did the proper auditing and face-to-face meetings with, and they highlighted the recommendations. So what we thought was the process we were going to go through is not FAFO, but Doge. Then they still can come back to us and request the Doge. And I would be, the other comment I made to staff was, we have to be ready for that. Assume they are going to give us the call for the one-on-one meetings. We can start preparing that now. Their report is the baseline for us to go through and look at what the other counties and municipalities went through. And then they have a whole chapter on how you can prepare. And so we need to go through. I did a really rough draft that I haven't sent to staff yet, but about what we can be doing. And it goes in line with House Bill 1329, I believe it is, which is the transparency law that was passed by both houses. Most of it is what we already have done on our transparency dashboard. There's only a couple of things that we have to modify our transparency page to meet 100% of their goals, because they ask for specific advanced timelines. We have to publish financial documents so many days before our meetings, our financial budget meetings. Every quarter we have to update our employee salary list, which I don't think we do, but easy to do. And then the other one that was in that House bill was an exercise of reducing the budget by 10%. It's written into the law. So that's something that we can do as well. And I think we have to alert the constitutionals that they're part of this process.
They are.
And they have to know that this is the process that's mandated now by state. They don't say you have to stick to that, but they want you to go through that process to see what the results are. If we want to do a consensus of something our transparency expert is no longer with us, our dashboard creator, Jorge. But we have picked up off of that to be able to keep modifying it and continue on with the work that he did. I think a page dedicated to the facts of the FAFO report would be appropriate, showing the increase in our
reserve and why that is important and how that is saving taxpayers money. You know, a lot of things can go into that, but that was my recommendation. That and also getting prepared to start working on as if we are going to get that individual DOJ meeting and use what's in the DOJ report to start preparing for that.
That needs to be done. That needs to be done, I believe, in the very immediate future. I'd rather know that we're working on it than not working on it till a certain time certain. I saw what happened in Orlando, where they were one of the first, and they wound up getting accolades after. First, they were, really knocked down, and yet they had to come back and say, well, no, not quite. So I think we have to be more precise with our numbers and as sharp as, sharpen our pencil, make sure that we are, sending out factual, actual information. Really important for that transparency.
This also got me looking in the budget book, obviously. And our directors do a great job. I call it a executive summary, but it's not laid out that way. There's more of a what we got done, where we're going, that kind of thing. And I think if we pull some of that out of the budget book, it's very complimentary on the look back and then the look forward. And I'll talk to Brian about that and Mr. Broward about that when I get with them. But there's a lot of data out there, and even that document that you got from what city was that you forwarded that the summary to us. It's out of my book. Anyway, I mean that's pages and pages and pages. It's just
Andy from Nassau County, right?
Nassau County, right? Right.
Yeah, he was nice.
So, I mean, I don't know how far we have to go. I think we get all the parts. We just got to kind of
Yeah, I think that was a lot of work. I don't know that we want to put, we have a webpage we can probably share and do that with, but.
We got to put it together, make sure it's.
I mean, we have to.
Driving people to that, and when you do your get together, your town hall, you'll have a slide on what the county does.
Right.
Again, observing what people are saying on Facebook or social media, they, our water rates keep going up. That's not what this is about. They compare us to Palm Coast. They don't really know a lot about what the county does. So
that's correct.
You'll have that in your town halls. It's kind of a nice slide to go through and explain to people what we do versus what they do.
Every day people ask me to fix that, and I say I'd love to. I don't have the opportunity to do that. It's a common misunderstanding of the differences between us and this
So
one
it brought
and that
some
one.
awareness.
You know that we still have those rec cards called "What Do We Do?"
Yeah.
And I encourage you at your town halls, take a couple and just, hey,
Staff
this
has
is what
them all
we
there
do.
for
This
us.
is
They
what we
bring
do.
everything.
Yeah, they have their
bring everything.
strategic plan there. They have everything there.
Yeah.
It's just what are people there for? And I'm getting ready to do number 2. So we'll go and do, no, not that number 2.
Your second.
I'll start using some of it because
Second one
I do one a month.
Yeah.
Out at the hammock, and so where this time I'll be talking your
Right.
project at this next one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you just got to get the word out.
Get the
of what
words
we're
out.
So
doing.
Get the
I have
word out.
3 takeaways from the Ngolia's thing, because we were not invited formally, but we sort of crashed it to the press conference. It was private. Fundamentally, we're 5 Republicans. You're not supposed to grow government disproportionate to the amount of growth you're having. So that's his whole argument in a nutshell. And that's a serious thing, because you can't double budget. You're going to be as big as the federal government one day if we keep up the pace. So that I understand. And that comes with doging efficiencies and all of that. In cleaning out waste and reprioritizing the needs over the wants, which sometimes we go sideways on that. Or have. So outside of that, I will say this, and I probably shouldn't say this, but Mr. Mullins had the opportunity to interview Mr. Ngolia after that press conference, and I was disheartened to see a former board member not be able to explain or defend the doubling of his budget in those years, or explain that, yes, sir, we do actually pay for roads out of general fund. We do pay for, we don't have funds per se where it's split out. The general fund's used for multiple items. So at that point, it was hard to take it seriously for that regard. But the fundamental message was you cannot grow government disproportionate to the growth you're obtaining. You don't even have the community to sustain those kind of numbers. So luckily, you took yourself from low bond rating to a AA plus. You put reserves 7 to 52 million. You paid off debt that were bad decisions from commission past. You're much more stable, and now you're building back a beach. You're building roads. That's unfortunate that he didn't see in our general funds that. I don't know how they missed it being the CFO, but it happened. And you built buildings, and you've strengthened a lot of areas around your area, and you're just catching up from not having the revenue. So it was disappointing to see that that couldn't be defended by a previous commissioner in that regard that was here during those periods of time. But it is what it is. Do better is the message from the state, I guess. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
All right, we're adjourned. See you back at 1. Don't go far.